And a very good evening to you. I'm Alistair Bruce Ball. It's a chilly South Coast welcome from me to Bournemouth's Vitality Stadium for your Saturday evening Premier League commentary on BBC Radio. Pep Guardiola and his Manchester City team are in town tonight. They need a win to stay hot on the heels of Arsenal at the top of the Premier League, and Bournemouth would dearly love to take something from this game at the start of a really tough little run of fixtures for them. But this particular head-to-head has not been kind to them in the Premier League era. City have won all 11 games they've played against Bournemouth by an aggregate of 34 goals to 5. The music is thumping, the stadium is full. I'm delighted to say I've got a man who's managed hundreds and hundreds of Premier League games sitting alongside me in the commentary box this evening, knows this team in this stadium very well indeed as well, because he doesn't live too far away. Tony Pulis, good evening, welcome, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Looking forward to the game, actually.
Yeah, Gary O'Neill up against Pep Guardiola. He's not been too long in the job here at Bournemouth. This is a real test for him and his team, isn't it?
Yeah, very much. I think Man City is a test for anybody, Alistair. But as I've said, when the season starts, you look. If you're a team mid-table or just below mid-table Premier League standard, you look at the top clubs and you see which weeks they're away playing in European competitions. And I used to always hope and pray that we would get one of those teams or two of those teams on those weeks, because it's very, very difficult at times to get yourself up for big games, which they've had on, was it Wednesday?
Yep.
Then come back and play in a small stadium like this with a small crowd. So I do think Bournemouth have a chance. Yeah, it might be a small chance, but there's a better chance this week than maybe other weeks.
Fair to say as well, Tony, you quite enjoyed going up against the big boys and gave them a few bloody noses in your time, didn't you?
Now, we like I say, we used to hope and pray that we would catch them on the back of a European week. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Manchester City were in Germany on Wednesday night, as Tony says. That was a 1-1 draw against RB Leipzig in the first leg of their last 16 Champions League tie. Pep Guardiola has made 3 changes to that team. Kevin De Bruyne not quite ready to start. He missed the game midweek with illness. He's on the bench. 18-year-old Rico Lewis replaces Kyle Walker in the defence. Phil Foden gets a start. He comes in for Riyad Mahrez, and Julian Alvarez into the team as well. Bernardo Silva, another one of those to drop out. I was just watching Erling Haaland, that giant figure, last out for Manchester City, walking ever so slightly slower than the rest of his teammates. Just an incredibly sort of domineering presence. And the stat I gave you earlier on today, Tony, which is remarkable and tells you all about him, but actually Bournemouth struggles in front of goal this season as well. Erling Haaland has 26 Premier League goals this season. Bournemouth have 21. He's got 5 more than the entire team of Bournemouth.
Yeah, people are criticising him, Alistair. Yeah. I do think, City are a possession-based team. They want to dominate the game through possession. And if there's a big difference from last year to this year, it's the amount, and even at the beginning of the season, the amount of clear-cut chances they're creating might not be as many as what it was previously. So, if anything, Pep's got to get back to making sure that when they get in the final third, they get end products.
Been talking about Bournemouth's difficulties. Let's not forget their last Premier League fixture. They won. Big win away at Wolves last Saturday with a goal from Marcus Tavernier. Unfortunately for Bournemouth, he is unavailable to Gary O'Neill this evening. So the only change is Chris Mepham, Welsh centre-back, comes in for Tavernier. So we think that is going to be a back 3 for Bournemouth. Brazilian goalkeeper Neto, Jack Stevens on loan from Southampton, Mepham and Marcos Senesi, Adam Smith and Jordan Zamora as the wing-backs, Jefferson Lerma, Philip Billing in central midfield, Dominic Solanke up top, Dango Ouattara and Hamed Traore in support of him. 2 signings in the January window. Traore on loan from Empoli, who have made a bit of a difference to the team as well. Both sets of players now in the huddles. Bournemouth in the red and black stripes, black shorts and red socks. We're going to need this particular Bournemouth fan to sit down once the game gets underway, otherwise we've got absolutely no chance.
I'll have a word with him in a minute.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you. And Manchester City in change kit, which is a sort of fluorescent lime green with dark blue stripes across the front, blue shorts and lime green socks. Ederson in goal, Lewis, Akanji, Diaz and Ake, Rodri and Gundogan, Foden, Alvarez and Grealish, with Erling Haaland through the middle. Manchester City beat Bournemouth 4-0 at the Etihad Stadium in August, but Erling Haaland didn't score in the game. He's still on track potentially, if he scores in this game, to score against every team in his debut Premier League season, but let's see how he goes today. We're underway. It's Radio 5 Sports Extra. Wales against England in the Six Nations is over on BBC Radio 5 Live, and once that is done and dusted, then this commentary will continue on our sister station 5 Live as well, and Tony and I will take you through until Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage will be taking your phone calls on all the football in 6:06 tonight. 20 seconds played, Manchester City possession. Diaz plays the ball up the middle of the pitch to Haaland, who lays it off nicely here into the path of little Julian Alvarez. Alvarez whips across into the far post. Grealish nods it down, and there's an early bit of defending to do. Grealish's shot is then blocked at the near post, and that goes behind for a corner to Manchester City, who have signalled their intent.
It's the first time I've seen Haaland live.
Good.
How big is he,
Oh,
Alistair?
Tony.
He looks a monster.
He is
absolute
a
monster.
You're right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what you make of him live, actually. Corner Manchester City. Phil Foden into the team, takes it, drives it with his left foot to the far post, and it's headed away by Billing. Billing then gives chase to his own header. Rodri is there first, plays the ball back to Alvarez. Alvarez tries to find Rodri wide on the right. Rodri can't control it. It goes out for a throw in to Bournemouth. So just in case you haven't heard, 4 Premier League kickoffs at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Arsenal 5 points clear at the top of the table at the start of this game because they beat Leicester by a goal to nil. Martinelli scoring early in the second half. Big wins for Leeds and West Ham in the relegation battle. Leeds beat Southampton with a late goal from Junior Firpo. They won that game by a goal to nil. West Ham thumped Nottingham Forest by 4 goals to nil. And Ollie Watkins, 5 in 5 for him for Villa. They won 2-0 away to Everton. So the bottom 3 at the moment in the Premier League. Southampton bottom on 18 points. Then Everton on 21 points. And then Bournemouth, well, in fact, Bournemouth start on 21 points with a worse goal difference, but the table I've got in front of me is an as-it-stands table, so it's giving Bournemouth a point already, having only played 2 minutes against Manchester City. I think that
they'll take
might
that.
Be going a bit. Exactly. 2 minutes in and Bournemouth have the ball, and here's Mepham, right-sided centre-back, and he's going to roll it back to his goalkeeper, who's got to be quick. Alvarez sped in, and I'm not sure Neto saw him until the last minute. Here's Lerma. Lerma's ball out low to the left. Zamora curls it down that left-hand touchline, but it goes out of play. Traore can't keep it in. Manchester City take the throw in quickly.
Yeah, Bournemouth will try. You know, I think Gary wants the lads to play from the back and use the goalkeeper as a spare player. But they're going to have to be very careful, because if you give the ball away in your final third against players of this quality, you know, you can get caught out.
Phil Foden's lost the ball inside the Bournemouth half, and suddenly 5 players in the red and black shirts come charging forward. Billing lays it off. Now Zamora on the outside, manages to get the cross in to the far post. Aki tries to head it away. Aki's down on the floor, and the ball just bobbles into the arms of Ederson, and none of the Bournemouth players could get a clean strike. Ederson bowls it out to Foden. That's a really good header from Foden, who's knocked it into the path of Alvarez, who's sprinting forward, tries to find Haaland, intercepted by Mepham. Here's Ouattara back inside his own half. Loose first touch, so Gundogan is going to take it off him and plays it across to Nathan Ake, former Bournemouth man, of course.
Yeah, that was bad play by Alvarez, actually. You know, Haaland had made a great run. If he'd have played the right ball, he'd have been in on goal. It was a poor pass.
Interesting to watch here again, this classic sort of Pep Guardiola tactic. So Manchester City in possession. Rico Lewis, who ostensibly is right back, goes up into midfield. They sort of move into a back three, a wide back three. A Kanji right, Diaz in the middle, Ake on the left. The ball is back with Ederson, all in bright orange and gloves to match. Ake down the line to Grealish. Grealish draws a defender in. Plays back to Gundogan. Sliding challenge on Gundogan from Billing. Manchester City throw, and Pep Guardiola claps his hands above his head. I think he's giving Rico Lewis a bit of encouragement early on.
Yeah, I think Lewis has gone in. It almost makes it, 3 with 2 holding midfield players. And Gundogan can go anywhere. You know, you look at him now, and he'll move around the pitch and just try and find spaces. So they use it. It's really a conventional 3 at the back, but with Lewis, who's supposed to be the right back, playing as a holding midfield player.
Solanke trying to close Ederson down. Ederson plays it to Akanji. His clearance is blocked. Lewis now back in that right back position, volleys it away. And Lewis, who's 18 years old, turns and gives Ederson a bit of a rocket and says, let's get rid of that downfield. So there's confidence for you.
Yeah, Pep must be, convinced that the kid's going to be a top player. To get in this team at 18 years of age, absolutely fantastic.
Throw in Bournemouth, wide on the left. Just under 5 minutes played in the first half. Radio 5 Sports Extra. Tony Pulis alongside. One more Premier League game to come this evening as well. Updates of Crystal Palace against Liverpool into 6:06 tonight. Full commentary on Tottenham Chelsea tomorrow in the Premier League. Kicks off at 1:30. But the programme on 5 Live Sport comes live from Wembley, building up to the 4:30 commentary of the League Cup final, Manchester United against Newcastle. Ruben.
So Alistair, just quickly, so when they're in possession, City are playing 3 at the back, 2 holding midfield players and almost 5 up front.
Yeah, that's right, isn't it?
It's almost a 3-2-5.
Yeah. Ake down the left. Grealish first time ball looking for Haaland. Haaland's frustrated because Mepham's beaten him to it. Solanke runs to challenge Diaz for the header. The Manchester City centre-back wins it. Nodded forward from midfield. Solanke would have been offside. He lets it go. And so Diaz, the Portuguese, collects possession. Ball through the Bournemouth midfield is not accurate. Suddenly becomes a 50-50. Bournemouth eventually win it, and Billing plays it back into the heart of his defence. There's Jack Stevens to Adam Smith. Now Ouattara. Risky pass across the halfway line. Is just given possession away, and Akanji lets it run to little Rico Lewis. Lewis to Rodri. Rodri to Ake. Ake's first time ball intercepted by Ouattara. He gets a second go. Grealish gets a little shove in the back from Adam Smith as he plays the ball back to Ake, and Manchester City start to build from the back.
When they lose the ball, Lewis then drops in as a fullback, and they then go 4-4-2. So it's just in possession and out of possession. They just change shape.
Ederson, superb with the ball at his feet, just like the rest of the outfield players. Finds Grealish, heads it across to Haaland, leaps up to control the bouncing ball, driven pass from Gundogan with the outside of his right foot, finds Foden. Foden drops a shoulder and drifts infield, and then just lays the ball into the path of Rodri. Lines one up from a long way out. Cool, he's hit that well. It's swinging away and catches the stanchion at the back of the goal that sort of pulls the white netting taut. So probably 3 or 4 yards wide, but caught it well.
Yeah, it's a great effort, but it's an open game, Alistair. It looks as though it's not going to be a tight game whatsoever. So hopefully goals for us.
I'm looking forward to it, Tony. Rodri's shot just with a little bit of sort of draw on it.
Tony, like your shots today.
7 minutes gone in the first half. Goal kick for Bournemouth. Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 0.
While he's taking his time, I'll just tell you, Alistair murdered me at golf today at Remedy Oaks.
Yeah, I owed Tony one because the last time we were on air together, I think I'd lost 7 and 6. So I turned up today with a point to prove, I felt, Tony, to myself more than anyone else, I think. But we had a fantastic time, didn't we?
Yeah, it was brilliant.
On a gorgeous golf course.
Very much so.
Yeah. Here's Ruben Diaz. Pep Guardiola waving his right arm frantically, trying to move midfielders into position. Nathan Ake floating a pass down the left. Grealish cushions a little header towards Haaland. Haaland chests it down, moves to his left. Ball into the edge of the box. Lerma's there to intercept. Needs to be careful. Just pokes it to his left. Chance for Zamora to get there. Down the touchline he goes. Akanji reads it. Volleyed ball forward. Just hit Rico Lewis. It's come back to Diaz. And City have it just inside the Bournemouth half.
You're not giving the kid credit. That was a great pass.
Here's Akanji. Akanji inside the Manchester City half. Floodlights shining brightly. Chilly.
There's Gundogan again in those little pockets.
Yeah.
They get Lewis too old, and he just floats around.
There he is, looking for it again.
And when they lose it, they'll drop back into a 4. Gundogan will drop in. So they're 2 different shapes, in possession and out of possession.
8.5 minutes played. Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 0. Here's Akanji across to Rodri, all being played inside the Bournemouth half. Gundogan with a little dinked pass with his left foot. Ake's onto it on the left. Plays slowed down for a second. Then Rodri just lets the ball run across him. And side foot's a meaty pass to Akanji. Akanji back to Diaz in the centre circle. Across to Rodri to his left. Rodri wide to Ake. Ake's first time ball. Doesn't find Gundogan. Mepham read it. Gets a foot on it.
See, Alistair, that's the one point I'd make. From when Pep first took over, there was always people threatening the space behind. And if you look at this team, apart from Hagland, who makes those runs, everybody wants to come to the ball. Well, the real pass is that ball that gets behind back players.
Foden looking to float one over the back of the Bournemouth back line. It doesn't get very far. Solanke's back there. Knocks it back to Senesi. Left by Zamora for Ouattara, for Traore, I beg your pardon, to chase. He's fouled Lewis, and Manchester City take the free kick quickly. I was quite struck actually listening to our commentary of Leipzig against Manchester City on Wednesday. Ian Dennis and Matt Upson together in Germany. There must have been a 20-minute spell where Haaland's name wasn't mentioned. There was loads of Manchester City build-up in the first half, and he was obviously making the runs, but the ball was just never getting there. He's waiting in the middle at the moment, and Manchester City have worked it left, and Grealish is going to have a run at Adam Smith, trying to beat him on the outside. Cross takes a deflection, half clear, but only as far as Rodri. Rodri across the face of the box to Lewis. Lewis here to Foden. Foden looking for Gundogan, then Foden hits a shot. That's blocked, very tight and congested in there. Back out wide, City go to the left, and Grealish this time onto his right foot. Corner of the penalty area, followed by Smith. Layoff here to Rodri. Manchester City might appeal for handball, they didn't. Blocked by Ouattara, and Ouattara is sprinting away, and he's crossed the halfway line. Now looking for Solanke. Akanji comes running across, covers the danger for Manchester City, and he deals with it.
He's impressed me, Akanji. He looks a really good prospect. Really good prospect. This is the fella who's causing Bournemouth problems at the moment.
That's right. Now this time he's been stopped, and then Lerma's given the ball away. Ake immediately plays it to Grealish. Grealish is moving across the Bournemouth half from left to right, and he's being chased and harried by Billing. Zamora in quickly on Foden. Foden's able to keep it for City. Plays back to Ruben Dias. Dias to Foden. So Foden wide on the right, and Riyad Mahrez sitting on the bench. Jack Grealish wide on the left, who is a very popular Pep Guardiola player at the moment. This is 9th consecutive start in all competitions, settling in nicely with City in his second season at the club. Foden's had an up and down season, so I'm sure he'll be enjoying the start this afternoon. Akanji on the ball inside his own half. Shuttles it left to Ake, forward to Grealish. Grealish coming towards the ball, lays it back to Ake, and Ake turns and comes back to his goalkeeper. Ederson's coming up to 12 minutes played, still goalless. I'll have a little look on my phone and see what's going on in the rugby in a minute. Tony, the last score I saw was, I think it was 8-3 to England, but that was early stages in the Six Nations. Ederson, first time ball out to his right. Oh, nice from Dias. Dias then clips the pass up to Haaland. Haaland controls it, but Mepham nips in and takes it. Then Lerma trips over the ball. That could be really costly for Bournemouth. Gundogan's away. Challenge on Gundogan, and the ball goes flying out for a throw into Manchester City on the left.
Yeah, Billing and Lerma are going to have to get one of the centre halves to come out on Gundogan. Otherwise, they're just going to outnumber them 3 against 2 all the time. So someone's going to have to come from the back four. They're going to have to come out. I've got that as a half-time score. Tony, Wales 3, England 8 in Cardiff. Wales are still in it at the moment. Still in it. Second half commentary on 5 Live, and then this commentary of Bournemouth Manchester City will pick up on 5 Live as well, and we'll take you all the way through until 6:06. Ruben Dias just comes walking up to the halfway line, goes right to Akanji, very patient from Manchester City, lots of passing early in the game, making Bournemouth do the running. Ederson straight up the middle of the pitch to Rodri. Rodri applauds the bravery and the execution, lays it off here to Dias. Dias right in the middle of his own half. Now here's the run from Haaland through the middle. The ball bounces once, just gets away from him. Neto's out to the edge of the box to collect it. It's a great run. It was nearly a great pass as well. You know, fantastic run. Ball up towards Solanke, bumps into Dias, and Dias gets a foot on the ball, and that'll be a throw in to Bournemouth just inside the Manchester City half on the right. So tactical battle at the moment, tight. Bournemouth keeping a very close eye on the giant Norwegian, who, as I say, has 26 Premier League goals already to his name this season. Manchester City having only played 24 games. He's got another 14 to try and increase that tally. Neto's taken a bit of a risk, clears the ball and it evades Haaland, and Rodri couldn't block. Ake down on his knees, chests the ball down, gets it back from Grealish. Adam Smith is there to stop him. Wide it goes to Ouattara, tackled by Grealish. That's twice the keeper. Neto's had the ball, and twice, you know, he's taken a chance. You know, he's got to be very, very careful back there. Otherwise it will be in the back of his Neto, won't it, Tony? Apologies for that. 14 minutes gone in the first half. Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 0. Mepham across to Stevens, then Senesi, forward to Traore. Good interception from Lewis on the slide. Ball across here to Gundogan, 25 yards out in a central position. Clever ball. Foden's onto it and Neto blocks it. Haaland's shot comes off the bar, comes down, and it's stuck into the roof of the net, and Manchester City have the lead. It's Julian Alvarez waiting at the far post.
Haaland's shot came bouncing back off the bar, and fortunately for Manchester City, Alvarez was there, reacted quickly, and he's given City the lead. Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 1.
It was a great pass behind the back line then. I think they're checking VAR. So let's see what VAR says.
Yeah, Andy Madley at Stockley Park is the video assistant referee. Manchester City players trotting back to the halfway line, having completed their celebrations, and we'll have a little look on the replay monitor.
He's
so Foden's
onside,
isn't he?
Yeah.
Just look at the rest of it. Haaland shot, yeah, it's all fine.
Yeah,
it's all fine. Good little ball, wasn't it? Gundogan over to Foden.
He's been finding little pockets. It's the first time they've played a pass behind the Bournemouth back line, and it's a fabulous ball. And they get a little bit lucky with the rebound.
Yeah.
But they've looked dangerous every time they've gone forward, haven't they?
Trouble for Bournemouth. Manchester City in front. What do they do if you try and chase it too early? Manchester City can absolutely
it's an absolute nightmare, really.
Yeah.
You know, you just hope you can hang on, and then you know, you get a little bit of good fortune going forward.
So Manchester City win if they do win, will be just 2 points behind Arsenal. They will have played a game more. Akanji turns away from trouble in the right back position. Manchester City next in action Tuesday night at Ashton Gate in the FA Cup fifth round. Haaland chasing a back pass here. Neto's backpedaling into his own penalty area. He's going to take a risk again. Takes a touch in front of Haaland. Billing plays it across here to Stevens, forward to Smith. Ouattara back into the feet of Smith. Smith at speed, trying to get past Rodri. Rodri didn't do much wrong there. He just came running alongside him. Smith felt a bit of contact and went down. You're not having that?
No. It's a game of challenge, you know, for all the football that we teams are playing. But it's you know, we still want to see challenges.
I think, Tony, there, Smith's overrun it. He knows he's not going to get past Rodri. He's just hoping for some contact, goes down, and the referee's bought it. I don't think Rodri's done anything wrong there. Bournemouth gets free kick.
Again, you know, a big gripe with mine, referees knowing the game and knowing what players are up to and what they're not up to.
Solanke on the turn. And Paul Tierney says that is a free kick because Ruben Dias has fouled Dominic Solanke. Was trying to turn and get away from him inside the centre circle. Phil Foden, I think, thought he might have been in. Phil Foden actually very nearly walked that Gundogan pass into the net because the first touch nearly took him past Neto.
The keeper. Yeah.
Neto got a foot on it, came back to Haaland. Haaland's shot deflected onto the bar, and Alvarez stuck away the rebound. So Alvarez, that's double figures now for the season. 5 in the Premier League, 10 goals in total. And Manchester City leading by a goal to nil. Now, last week against Nottingham Forest, away from home, they took the lead, didn't get the second, got punished.
Yeah. Well, Wednesday they did as well.
Correct. Yeah.
So you know they'll need that second goal.
Ruben Dias has the ball at his feet. Ederson is standing on the right corner of his 6-yard box, hollering at him. Wants it. Solanke closes in. Ederson plays it to Rodri. Trying to move Bournemouth around. Dias across to Ake inside the Manchester City half. Forward to Grealish. Such a familiar figure now. Jack Grealish, shirt untucked, socks rolled down, bulging calf muscles, hair tied back with the thick Alice band, white number 10 on the blue shorts. Here's Ake. Bournemouth trying to pen Manchester City in, and Manchester City just knocking it around. They're going to use the goalkeeper again. Ederson runs away from Solanke. That's when it goes wrong. Lerma intercepts. Can Bournemouth do anything with it? At the moment they're running it back to their own halfway line, and in fact it might go all the way back to Neto. Haaland's chasing. Here's Stevens. Stevens plays it into his own penalty area. Across to the Bournemouth keeper, all in light grey. Ball up to the halfway line. Dias wins the header, and here's the man who's making it tick for Manchester City. Gundogan looking for another curling pass over the top. Can't find Foden. Might fall to Haaland. Haaland brings it down and lays it off. It runs past Alvarez to Foden. Foden plays it back to Gundogan. He just opens his body up and side foots a short ball to Lewis on his right. And Manchester City work it back to Dias. Forward to Lewis. Lewis has pretty much the entire Bournemouth team in front of him, all in the Bournemouth half. Bournemouth have everyone behind the ball. Here's good news for Tony. I think Wales have got a converted try to lead 10-8 in the Six Nations with a bit of time still to go. Gundogan to Haaland. Haaland on the turn. Good challenge on Haaland on the edge of the box. Had to get that one right, did Mepham, and he did.
Yeah, well done from Lewis as well. Playing in that holding midfield player. You know, really, really well played.
Rodri. Now here is Lewis in that position for Manchester City. Number 82 on his back. Cross to Rodri, who's the much taller man. Ake Rolls the ball underneath
Much older.
the studs of his boot. Who? Rodri. Oh, yeah. Rodri. How old's Rodri? Let's check on Rodri. 26. Yeah. Little Lewis is 18.
Years.
8 years. Lewis curling ball out to the right. Here's Foden. Foden strokes it back.
See,
to
Alvarez
Akanji.
has made a great run then in behind the back line, and Foden's not had, the awareness to play him in. His first touch has gone backwards. You have a look at Grealish, a lot of the times his first touch goes backwards. When we played when we were younger, you were taught, can you get your first touch forward and look up and play forward? Because the best players in the team, invariably, are the front players.
Alvarez looking for the run of Haaland. That's a good pass. Haaland holds off the defender, takes it wide, hits a shot, and it's blocked by Stevens and goes behind for a corner.
Yeah, good play again, good interlink. City are looking really dangerous.
Manchester City leading Bournemouth by a 1-0. Tony Pulis with us here at the Vitality Stadium. 20 minutes played first half. Manchester City corner. After this, Bournemouth go to Arsenal, then host Liverpool, then away at Villa before the international break. So
yeah, tough run of games.
Tough games coming for them. Foden's corner in, good delivery, and the header is glanced wide. Rodri made the run right across the near post, and his touch has beaten everyone.
Diaz, I think, heads it wide. He's very, very unlucky.
You're right. It was Rodri made the run. He didn't get the touch. Diaz stooping, got the header on it. It's gone through a whole forest of legs and gone wide of the post. Ake up, wins a header. Adam Smith clattered in the air. And now England up in the rugby. So trading blows in Cardiff. Wales 10, England 15. Commentary continues over on BBC Radio 5 Live. Smith's okay. He jumped with Ake. He was caught. They sort of bumped into each other mid-air and Smith fell awkwardly, but he's picked himself up and that's good to see. Neto clears. Ouattara with a little flicked header towards Solanke. Ouattara back to Billing. Ouattara again. Nice pass through the lines. Traore couldn't quite control it. Ake being chased by Traore to the touchline. Ake wins a throw for Manchester City, and Pep Guardiola standing right next to him says, just stop, that'll do. Take your time, let's reset. Ake takes that throw and throws back to Ruben Diaz. The singing you can hear comes from the Manchester City fans, who don't get an end of the ground here, so they're sort of directly opposite us in one of the stands, one corner of the stands that runs alongside the touchline at the Vitality Stadium. Diaz towards Alvarez. Nice layoff from Alvarez to Lewis. Lewis dancing away from a couple of challenges. Gundogan's pass doesn't find Foden. Here's Hamad Traore. Good run made by Zamora on the left, promising for Bournemouth. Zamora takes a touch, cross comes in, doesn't beat Edison at the near post. Ouattara was waiting at the far post.
Yeah, a little bit of quality. If he could have just found some quality then, Zamora. There was two players in the box, and the lad on the right hand side was all by himself. If he had stood it up, the lad would have had a great chance there. Free header.
Edison inside his 6-yard box, closed down by two Bournemouth players, so gets rid this time, clears with his left foot. Mepham caught by Haaland accidentally. Smith has taken a tumble, and the free kick is given against Gundogan 10 yards inside the Manchester City half. He's quick, Smith. Moves quickly.
He's been very quick to fall over twice.
That's true too. Just past the midway point in the first half here. Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 1. Win for City would put them 2 points behind Arsenal. Manchester City's next Premier League encounters next weekend at home to Newcastle in the Saturday lunchtime kickoff. Newcastle with the small matter of a first domestic final in almost a quarter of a century tomorrow at Wembley on Sunday. Senesi volleys it straight up in the air, headed into the Manchester City penalty area. Rodri nods it back to Edison, and Edison, dancing across his byline, manages to keep that ball in play, according to the assistant referee. Gundogan across to Alvarez. Alvarez pops up in a little bit of space, quickly onto Foden. Alvarez makes a run forward. Foden is running across the Bournemouth half from right to left. Rodri sees Rico Lewis with a bit of room to work with on the right. Into the feet of Alvarez, back to Rodri. Rodri doesn't see an option, turns, plays back to Akanji. And the big Swiss defender just walks forward and knocks the ball to Rodri, across to Ake and back to Diaz. Diaz, his pass low to Akanji. Akanji trying to thread one down the inside right channel to find Haaland, intercepted. Billing, tall lanky figure in that Bournemouth midfield. Ball forward to Ouattara, goes down very easily there. Ruben Diaz sort of knocked into him from behind. Ref's not buying that one. Ouattara stayed down and the ref's got to stop the game because he's holding the back of his head. Well, I know they've got to, Tony. They've got to stop the game.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much there was in that. I could be wrong. Let's have a look. Come on.
Nothing touched his head, did it?
Doesn't. No. And he knows if he holds his head, the game gets stopped and Bournemouth reset. That's not great. 20 minutes to play. First half, Manchester City leading through a Julian Alvarez goal. Erling Haaland looks hungry, having failed to score in 8 of his 11 appearances in this calendar year for Manchester City. He's just hunting at the moment. Gundogan, Mepham slides in, gets the ball for Bournemouth. Lerma up towards Solanke, back into Lerma. Solanke under pressure, surrounded by 3 Manchester City players. He's got to keep this here. He's done really well actually to wriggle out of a tight spot.
Fantastic.
And off he goes, running away from Jack Grealish. Plays a good pass as well to Zamora. Bournemouth are getting men forward. Zamora into the feet of Solanke, still going. Down he goes. Then the shot gets hit by Traore, blocked. Diaz kicks the ball into Traore, and behind it goes for a goal kick.
Yeah, Solanke did brilliant in the middle of the pitch then. He must have gone and pulled the ball back and beat about 2 or 3 people. Let's have a look at this. Nah, he's just run into him. The lad can't get out of the way of him.
Yeah, no, there was...
That's not a penalty.
No, I agree with you, Tony. There was 2 or 3 Manchester City players there. He's moving at speed. He's falling forward into them, but it wasn't them that caused him to go down. Last 20 minutes of the first half. At half-time, we will bring you reaction to the day's other sports so far. Gundogan very nearly found Haaland through the middle there. Really important interception from Stevens this time. Lerma across to Zamora. Pep Guardiola close down below us with his shiny polished black DMs. Looks a little anxious as Bournemouth come forward. Solanke offside. Solanke slid to play the ball to Ouattara. Smith was bombing up on the outside. It was looking promising, and the offside flag's gone up.
Yeah, he was offside. The keeper's hit a few up the handle, and when Bournemouth have really pressed Man City when he's got the ball. They've gone almost man for man, and they've left it one-on-one at the back, and they've hit a few balls into him. And Gundogan, as soon as it's gone, he's just broke off his midfield player. And they look dangerous in that respect as well, City. So not only just playing and keeping the ball and working it, they've played forward a lot better tonight, for me, so far, Alistair.
Diaz chip ball onto the chest of Alvarez. Alvarez tries to volley it to the right. Intercepted and collected by Traore. Back down that left-hand touchline for Bournemouth. Zamora. Bournemouth attacking from left to right in this first half as we look at it, if you know your Vitality Stadium. And dark clouds above. I know we're moving into towards 6 o'clock, but they look like sort of storm clouds in the distance to me. Solanke, corner of the Manchester City penalty area, gets away from Diaz, flicks it infield to Zamora. Zamora back to Lerma. Lerma's pass forward. Offside flag stays down. Cross takes a deflection.
He looked offside to me then.
Did, yeah, into the arms of Ederson. So Manchester City have dealt with any potential danger anyway. So Alvarez's goal, the difference between the two teams so far. Kevin De Bruyne is sitting on the bench, so is Riyad Mahrez, so is Bernardo Silva, so is Kyle Walker for City this evening. Ake's ball intercepted by Ouattara, throw in Manchester City. Right under the nose of Pep Guardiola, who we think might have enjoyed a little round of golf if he had time this morning. He loves it, doesn't he, Tony?
Yeah, he does. He loves his golf. Don't worry about that.
Plays a bit with Tommy Fleetwood, I think, doesn't he, when he gets the chance. So he can probably play a bit as well, actually. I bet he can play.
That's a great
ball,
run.
Great ball down the left. Good run from Gundogan. Gundogan collects. Cross comes into the far post. Falls to Haaland, who drives it home and gets a second goal for Manchester City. It was Gundogan's cross from the left. Foden tried to tuck it in at the far post. The ball rolled across the face of goal. Back to Erling Haaland. He does not miss those. A 27th Premier League goal of this incredible season for him. And it's Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 2.
Yeah, it's a fabulous run. Great pass, mind, but have a look at the run, Alistair. It's a great run. Again, they get in behind Bournemouth's back line. It's a great cross. And they're a little bit unlucky again. It's come off a Bournemouth defender and dropped to him. But he's finished it with aplomb, really.
Yep.
People complaining. How many goals has he
27, Tony.
Only
right, so now he is only 5 behind Mo Salah's record of 32 Premier League goals for a 38-game season. So he's 5 goals behind, but he's still got 13 and a half games to play. Andy Cole and Alan Shearer in Premier League history scored 34 goals in a 42-game season. And in terms of your Manchester City history, Franny Lee scored 33 in the top flight back in 71.
Francis Lee.
Yeah. Back in
slightly
different player to Haaland, wasn't he, Franny Lee? But what a player, you're right, Tony. But
bit more fire in his belly.
Yeah, that's right. 27 Premier League goals for Erling Haaland and 33 in all competitions, and so many games still to come. Right place, right time, and he didn't try to do too much, Tony, did he? Just put his left foot on it, sort of knocked it down into the ground, beat the defender on the line. Thank you very much.
The build-up was really good because Gundogan's, someone's got to get in there and pick him up.
It's been caught now, Gundogan.
He's just completely controlled the game for me in there. He's found little pockets. He set up the 2 goals. Really, his first pass to Foden, and then the second one is pass up the side. He made the run, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, the pass up the side for him, and a great cross. They've looked really on it. I've been really impressed with City.
Yeah.
Like I say, I was concerned with them playing in Europe. What would they be like coming back? Small ground, tight pitch, but their attitude has been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and the goals keep coming against Bournemouth. I mentioned the stat right at the start of the game. So 11 Premier League games between these two teams. 34-5 on aggregate to Manchester City. Now 36-5 as this one stands. Gundogan's ball in just beyond Rodri. Lovely free kick, and behind it goes in the end for a goal kick. They look hungry for more as well, actually, Tony. You worry for Bournemouth a bit here.
Yeah, they do. Listen, this is a bonus game for Bournemouth. This is a game where if you get something out, you're absolutely delighted. But at the beginning of the season, you're not looking at these games to pick points. No, these are not the crucial games. So, and that, the difference between what City have spent and what they can put on the pitch compared to Bournemouth is just absolutely ridiculous. So we've got to put things into perspective.
Last 15 minutes of the first half. Tony Pulis with us on Radio 5 Sports Extra, and Bournemouth attacking with Zamora. Lovely back heel to Traore. Traore gets the cross in. Dive header away from Akanji. Falls to Billing. Bournemouth fans urging him to shoot. The shot does come in the end from Lerma, and it goes miles over the crossbar, and it's behind for a goal kick to City.
Billing's first touch really stopped him from having a shot. He just got away from, got stuck under his feet. We could have done with Lerma playing at the Arms Park.
Yes, that's
that
right.
shot.
That's right.
Is it still the Arms Park?
Principality Stadium, isn't it?
Arms Park right? To me.
Yeah. Well, exactly, Tony, and to me too. I grew up with the Five Nations back as it was then. Lerma's lost it. Lewis trying to run the ball out for Manchester City. He's been tackled. Here's Ouattara 25 yards from goal, and there's Gundogan again.
Yeah, he's been absolutely fantastic.
Brilliant, isn't he? He's in his 7th season now at Manchester City. They got him for £20 million from Borussia Dortmund, and he's been a magnificent player for Manchester City.
Yeah, he looks
Guardiola loves him.
Yeah, looks as though he's got a fabulous attitude. Whether he's in the team, whether he's not in the team, he just turns up and gives his best. Scores goals, creates goals, back there doing the defensive work, as you say, totally committed to the cause. Bournemouth, they're playing 3 centre-halves who are marking one player. They've got to get one of those players out to go with him, because they're just getting murdered in there. They're just getting pulled all over the place. 12 minutes remaining first half. That's the voice of Tony Pulis here. Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 2. 7:45 kick-off in the Premier League tonight is Crystal Palace against Liverpool, so we'll have updates on that one into 6:06. Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage taking your calls as always. Ruben Dias standing with the ball just inside the Bournemouth half, comes back into his own half, doesn't see an attacking option. City very, very comfortable at the moment, plays back to Ederson, and they'll give it another go. Ederson forward to Dias. Dias comes creeping up to the halfway line. He's being forced to his left to Ake. Ake rolls it towards Grealish. Grealish tries to hold off Adam Smith. Ake's ball forward intercepted. Mepham fires a low pass to Lerma. Little flick ball from Senesi, chested down by Zamora. Lewis stuck a leg out. That's a bad challenge, I think. From lazy, my first look, that's not a great challenge. Yeah, lazy leg from Lewis. Knew he wasn't going to get the ball, actually, didn't he? He's caught Zamora, so free kick Bournemouth, and rightly so. Let's have a look. He might have just fallen over and won a free kick. No.
Free kick Bournemouth. Neto, the goalkeeper, walks forward to take it. Paul Tierney with the blast on the whistle. Neto drills a diagonal from left to right. Grealish wins the first header and the second header. Here's Gundogan, tries to control it on the half volley. Back it goes to
Foden's
Grealish.
in if he sees him, but he doesn't
see it. No, he's looked to the left to the big man. Here's Haaland. Nice control from Haaland. Such an enormous, sort of rangy figure who's, his lumbering's not the right word, but the way he runs is so distinctive, but he does it at real speed as well. Here's Solanke. Solanke running the ball down the left for Bournemouth. Going to take Akanji on for pace on the outside. Still going. Akanji gets a foot in, and behind it goes for a throw-in to Bournemouth.
I think it's a corner.
Corner to Bournemouth. Yeah, you're right, Tony. Good spot. So Hamad Traore will take that. It'll come in from Bournemouth's left, in-swinger with the right foot. Can they try and get themselves a foothold in this game and breach this Manchester City defence? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 light green City shirts in their 6-yard box, floated very deep. Lerma heads it back across goal. Ake tries to block, still pinging around inside the box. Sort of half-hearted penalty appeals in there for something. Smith lobs it up in the air. Oh, it's a good leap by Mepham. Doesn't get any touch on the ball. Grealish brings it down beautifully just outside his own box. Nearly ran into trouble. Here we go. City on the counter. They sense an opportunity here. Haaland to Foden. Foden with a step over. Trying to get past Zamora. Runs into trouble. City have lost it. Can Bournemouth counter themselves? Across it goes to Adam Smith. Smith being urged on by the Bournemouth fans and his manager Gary O'Neill. I think the offside flag might go up.
Offside.
Okay, it stayed down for now. Here's Ouattara with the cutback. Adam Smith hits it well, headed up and over the bar from Diaz, and it goes behind for a corner. Now that's the thing, Tony, that's the thing. If the ball ends up in the back of the net, that will get checked. Now it's gone for a corner, it doesn't, it's dead, we're into a new phase of play. If Bournemouth score from the corner...
I know. Yeah.
It looked offside, and we're sitting right, maybe we're wrong, I don't know.
Yeah, I think we're wrong. I think there was one player, to be fair to the linesman, we give him credit. Me and you are wrong.
Yeah.
Let's give one to the linesman.
Well done, Lino. 8 minutes left in the first half. Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 2. Alvarez and Haaland with the goals for the champions. Hamad Traore will take the corner again, driven, nodded down by Lerma from a long way out. He was going well wide, but it's actually taken so much pace off it that Stevens has collected it. Now Zamora turns away from Gundogan, plays it back out to the left. Cross comes in from Stevens, beats Haaland, glancing header, falls to Traore, who tries to whip one in at the near post, and Edison's there to palm it behind for another Bournemouth corner.
This has been their best period of the game, Bournemouth, from set plays, and they have looked dangerous, to be fair to them. City haven't looked comfortable defending crosses.
Corner Bournemouth, trailing 2-0. Hamad Traore to take again. Philip Billings there as a short option, and he will use him. Foden approaches. Billing on his left foot, whips one in, and it bounces just in front of Edison, who takes it cleanly on the half volley.
Edison's taken that quite well, really.
Yeah. Not sure, was he shooting, Tony? Or was he just trying to whip one sort of across the face of goal for someone to get a touch on? What do you think? It wasn't.
I would have said it was a shot. I think he'll say it was a cross.
Well, yes, exactly. Yeah, a shot without much conviction. Here's Rodri. Some of the Manchester City fans opposite us, I can see them making their way down the stairwells, going for the early
cup of coffee and
a little pie. I've still got my
tuna pie still
sitting there. I didn't
my
have
wife
time
made him a tuna pie.
I know, and we get a little break at half time because we get a sort of sports roundup from Mark Chapman, so there will be time to tuck in, and I can't wait. And Haaland's let that ball just drift beyond him. Mepham heads it up in the air. Stevens with the second header, Senesi with the third. So each Bournemouth centre-back got their turn at heading the ball away, but Manchester City have possession again, and it's at the feet of Grealish. Low pass across to Rodri, 35 yards out to Akanji. Akanji wide to Foden on the right. Foden's moving backwards, plays back to Akanji, cross the halfway line to Diaz. Diaz has Rodri to his left. Rodri towards Gundogan.
I know, he's in space again. It's a poor ball out to Foden. But he's finding those little pockets, and they're so good, Man City, at keeping the ball and being patient, that they wait for the time and then they play it. And he's completely controlled the game at times in possession when they've been in possession.
Gundogan's first touch there was lovely. It was just a pass that was behind Foden. Foden was on the move and trying to get going down the right. Diaz to Rodri. Bournemouth can't get the ball. 5 minutes left in the first half. Manchester City in cruise control, leading 2-0. Grealish, hair slicked back to Diaz. Diaz to Lewis. Lewis gives it straight back to Diaz. He's just inside the centre circle in the Bournemouth half, central position, towards Gundogan, laid back to Rodri, quickly on to Ake. Ake, short pass to his right to Rodri, cross to Diaz, forward to Gundogan and laid back to Akanji. Here's Gundogan again, just dropping a little bit deeper, just inside the Bournemouth half. Better pass to Foden into his path. Rico Lewis makes the run beyond Foden, but Foden strokes it back to Akanji. Now Rodri to Lewis. Foden in space on the right if he wants him. Uses him now. Foden back onto his left foot, corner of the penalty area. Back to Akanji. Very quiet inside the Vitality Stadium at the moment. Foden back to Akanji, and Manchester City.
How many times have you said that?
I know. It happens sometimes, actually, Tony, with commentaries on Manchester City games. There is so much possession and passing. It's name. Here's Grealish, who likes a dribble, though. Grealish curling. Ball to Lewis.
That's better.
Lewis lays it out to Foden on the right. Chance for Foden to run and try and beat Zamora. Here comes the cross to the far post. Alvarez downward header into the arms of Neto.
It's brilliant play. Absolutely fantastic. Foden's done brilliant there. He's been really positive.
One-on-one race now between Ouattara and Ake from the clearance from Neto, but Edison, cool as you like, he saw the danger from 90 yards away and just
nice little touch, wasn't it?
Lovely touch. First time ball, lobs it to Rodri and says thank you very much indeed. 3.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Radio 5 Sports Extra tonight, by the way, 7:30. We've got domestic rugby, London Irish against Leicester Tigers in the Gallagher Premiership. Full commentary on that. And then tomorrow, the Women's T20 World Cup final from 12:45. Our coverage begins. South Africa against Australia. South Africa having beaten England in the semi-finals. Bournemouth coming forward. Senesi getting away from Foden, looking for the ball into Solanke. Nice turn from Solanke, couldn't quite complete it though, and Lewis was there to intercept. Lovely layoff from Haaland. Haaland back to Gundogan. Gundogan half tackled by Billing, doesn't let it stop him though, and then Gundogan to his left, can't find Alvarez, straight out for a throw to Bournemouth.
It was smashing. You said radio then. What about when we were downstairs and they talked about wireless?
Wireless, yeah.
It's lovely to see you on the wireless.
The boys for the wireless. Yeah, it's great, isn't it, Tony?
I hope we don't get criticised for that.
We won't.
Surely we can use wireless.
No, we can use wireless. People know what we're talking about. The thing is now, Tony, loads of people will listen on the BBC Sounds app, on their mobile devices and their tablets or whatever, but you know, you can still use the good old-fashioned
I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Made me chuckle.
They always give you a fabulous welcome here as well, don't they, Tony?
Well, it's just the people from this area.
I know.
So welcoming.
2 minutes to go. Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 2. Lewis chasing back, battling hard. Zamora breathing down his neck. Lewis using his body to try and hold him off. Wins the foul. Free kick for Manchester City, and the Manchester City fans who were right by that piece of action applaud their man. Nico.
Yeah, Foden's having a little bit of a go. He thinks Zamora's been too aggressive.
Sticking up for his young mate.
Yeah, very much so.
He's not the biggest, Lewis, is he? He's a short little figure, but goodness me.
But he's strong and he can play. He's got fabulous balance. If you watch his balance, honestly, a top player.
Exactly, Tony. It must be so daunting coming into this team under this manager at that age, but clearly he has the trust, doesn't he? And he's shown why as well. Rodri, up to the halfway line he goes, stops, pass across the City half to Akanji on the right, forward to Foden back to Diaz. Diaz sets off on a little run, sees a couple of Bournemouth players in front of him, so lays it off to Ake. Ake back to Rodri, who's the deepest man for Manchester City. Edison gives him an angle, but plays to Akanji instead. Edison right in the middle of his goal mouth here inside the 6-yard box, just draws in Solanke, then lovely precision pass out to Grealish, back to Diaz forward to Haaland. He's just going to let that glance off his back, and Grealish is running hard to get there, just beaten to it by Senesi, who's played a first time ball back to his goalkeeper Neto looking for an option, chips one forward. Billing chests it down. Haaland tries to tackle him. Billing gets it again, this time from Senesi. Billing in the right back position. Risky ball, has given it straight to Foden, into the box and finished. And that is that for Bournemouth tonight. You cannot give Manchester City chances like that. Phil Foden back in the starting lineup, back amongst the goals for Manchester City. That was an absolute gift. He's taken it brilliantly, and it's Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 3.
Yeah, if you're going to play square passes across your defence, you've got to be 110% sure that they're the right passes. And that certainly wasn't the right pass. It was an absolute nightmare pass. But having said that, Foden's first touch and then his composure after, Alistair, was very, very good.
Yeah,
very good.
That will do him the world of good, trying to get back into the Guardiola good books at the moment. That's brilliant from Foden. You're right, Tony. First touch, holds off the defender, gives the keeper the eyes and just beats him at the near post. Good goal. And we're into added time at the end of the first half. I didn't see how much added time went up, but there won't be much. But this could be a very long evening for Bournemouth now, trailing by 3 goals to 0. And as I said, games next against Arsenal, Liverpool and Aston Villa starting tonight in the bottom 3. Goal difference worsening, will drop to -26, which is the worst in the division, but 3 points ahead of Southampton, who are bottom after their defeat against Leeds this afternoon. Leicester 0, Arsenal 1, Leeds 1, Southampton 0, Everton 0, Villa 2 and West Ham 4, Nottingham Forest 0. The results from the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League. Reaction to those coming shortly at half time here from Mark Chapman and the team, the broadcasting they've been doing on 5 Live this afternoon. Commentary continues in the Six Nations of Wales against England. You heard the half-time whistle blow in the background there. I've got my tuna pie to look forward to. I'm not sure what the Bournemouth players have got to look forward to at half-time. Goals for Alvarez, Haaland and Foden. The last one was a gift, Tony. How impressed have you been by Manchester City?
I really thought it was a tough game for them today, coming back from the game at Dortmund. But they've been fantastic. Their attitude has been, they've been on the front foot, and I've been more impressed with them in the final third. Their players running forward, they're passing forward, and it looks, every time they do it, they've got so much quality up there. They look as though they're going to score goals.
Says to Arsenal as well, doesn't it? We're going to be there all the way until the end.
It's a great response.
Yeah, Arsenal with their win this afternoon. Calvin Phillips, I can see, is coming out for an early warm-up at half-time for Manchester City. Phillips into his warm-up routine. Arsenal with their 1-0 win away at Leicester, top of the table on 57 points. But Manchester City, if they go on to win this, which we think they will be just 2 points behind. Don't forget, they will have also played a game more. So Tony and I will be back with the second half here on Radio 5 Sports Extra. After the rugby, our coverage will switch to 5 Live as well, and then it'll be on into 6:06. But for now, we will take a break, and let's bring you up to date with what's gone on. More details around the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League this afternoon. So here's Mark Chapman with a roundup of the results and the best reaction.
Let's round up all the day's Premier League action. We'll start at the London Stadium, where West Ham beat Nottingham Forest 4-0. David Moyes is with John Southall.
Declan Rice has been in. He said the win was a relief. What is it for the manager?
I thought it was a really good performance by the players. Even the first half we hadn't scored, but I felt our performance was much improved. We missed one big chance. Danny Ings had a really good chance from a cross in the first half, and I thought, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 corner kicks in the opening.
It was 10 in the first half, wasn't it?
No, we really gave ourselves a chance, but we couldn't turn anything into a goal, and I thought, here we go again. But it was a case of half time. I sort of much more of the same, lads. Let's see if we can keep doing it and see if we can get somebody in the right spot. And thankfully, when you've got somebody like Danny Ings, you expect him to get in the right spot a few times, and certainly did today.
Yeah, that's what he does, isn't it? I mean, is that what you've been missing, a player like him?
I think sometimes to have the art of being a centre forward and knowing your runs and what areas of the pitch, you need to be in. And I think, Danny Ings has done it for years, and he prides himself on goals as well. I can tell looking at him, he's what he wants. I thought the second goal he got scored today was a great centre forward goal, where he bundles the ball over the line. It was great work by Said Ben Rama to sort of get him the opportunity. But being a centre forward, you've got to be able to score all different types of goals, and that was one I quite enjoyed today.
Before the game, there was a talk it's a must-win game for West Ham. It's a must-win game for David Moyes. How did you see it?
Well, I think that was getting told by you people, not you in particular. Everybody inside the club's saying the exact opposite. So, I'm really fortunate that I've got good owners. And I've got to say, as a manager over my time, I've been really fortunate to have really good owners at so many clubs who, when things aren't going well, sometimes you need a bit of support. All managers do. And I don't know how many games there's been today, but there'll be a lot of managers out there who have lost games and need support from their chairman, from their owners. So I've never really felt too bad about it. But I have to keep answering the questions when you boys ask me.
On that kind of note, Graham Potter yesterday said he talked about the mental health issues that managers can have, and I think he said he'd spoken to you about it. Do you think it is a concern in the game for managers?
Well, I think, and I don't want to be direct here, but if you're going to put a radio show on later on and ask people to phone in and ask about a manager's job, I can't see how that's correct. But it's not for me. I've been in the game long enough, and I've had.
Is that the nature of the game?
No, but that's the nature of what people are doing. And if you're actually talking about mental health, then I wouldn't come on and ask you about your job and that somebody was going to take your job. So sometimes I think people have got to take some responsibility, and maybe asking people to phone in and ask about a manager's job, I'm not sure that's the right thing, or in this world we're in at the moment, if that's the way it should be going.
David, thank you. Well done today.
Cheers, thank you.
David, you mentioned
what a brilliant answer. Let's go to Maz Faruqi. Massive win for West Ham, big win for Leeds as well.
Yeah, and Javi Gracia has been speaking in the last few minutes to us here in the tunnel, Mark, insisting that he's seen enough from his Leeds players today to know that they will stay up this season. He seems certain about that, but in the early stages it was the same old Leeds in the first half. Lots of possession, few real chances until the 77th minute when Junior Firpo had the composure to get the ball into the back of the net. Even then, though, we wondered if they would be able to hold out for the win, given you have to look back to the beginning of November for the last one in the league, Leeds. But they held on against a Southampton side who admittedly offered very little going forward. James Ward-Prowse was very quiet today, and that shows how important he is for the Southampton side, the skipper. If he isn't informed, their options going forward are very limited. But Leeds did hold on for a rare win, a valuable win, and they are out of the bottom three. They won here 1-0.
And here's their new boss, Javi Gracia.
Congratulations on a winning start. How good does it feel?
It was really good. I think the club needed it, and after 10 games without winning, to get this result is something amazing for us. Very happy for all the supporters, for all the club, for all the people is working here, and especially for the players, because they were working without results, without reward, and today they did it really well.
How much time have you had to work with your players this week?
Yeah, we spent time together, but working on the pitch was one training session, but it was enough because we get a good result.
What did you make of the atmosphere here? They love their football here, and they got right behind you from the off, and when the goal went in, such an explosion of noise. I guess you must have enjoyed that.
Yeah. I hope listen more times because the atmosphere is something special, and I want to live more days like today in the future. I think the supporters deserve better things, and we are going to work for it.
Javi Gracia with Martin Fisher. The Everton revival under Sean Dyche came to a shuddering halt, Will Perry.
Yeah, but a much-needed win for Aston Villa, who, after losing 3 on the bounce before this, you can see why they are going to go back to the West Midlands happy bunnies. I just spoke to Unai Emery. He's delighted to have kept a clean sheet, having conceded 11 goals in those games against Leicester, Manchester City and Arsenal. It's a win, actually, which leaves them only 4 points off a European spot in 7th. A lot of football to play as well. Everton, though, back in the relegation zone. Everton left regretting not taking chances, and particularly chances in the first half. Mope had 3 really good opportunities, an unmarked header wide which was then hit straight at Martinez after that in acres of space. He then saw a Mings clear off the line, I should say, and Onana, a header brilliantly saved by Martinez. All of this before Gay lunged in on McGinn in the box. A penalty was given. Watkins, with just over an hour gone, stuck it right down the middle past Pickford, who was again then beaten by Buendia, powering past him from a tight angle. So it's 2 defeats in 4 games for Sean Dyche. Definitely more organised and competitive under him. When you look at what they've got to come, though, chappers, Arsenal, Chelsea and Spurs, 3 of the next 4 games for Everton. I just caught up with Dyche, and he wasn't too unhappy with what his team offered today.
A lot of the performance was right today. The feel of the performance, the energy, especially a bit flat the first 15 minutes, but then we started coming to life, started creating chances. Dwight McNeil, I thought, was excellent all game today. He was very productive in the first period, in the first half. Sorry, everyone's a bit tight, not been scoring this season, and we're trying to correct that. And just that little, like I say, the only word I can use, that freedom. When the team's scoring goals, everyone looks a bit more loose. They're driving into the right areas. Their runs are half a yard quicker than what they normally are. Finishes just have a bit more clarity on. And we're still looking a little bit unassured in the final third with the big moments. And inevitably got done on 2 very soft goals from our point of view.
What's the progress report then after 4 games? 2 wins, 2 defeats, but progress, right?
Well, I think the progress is the energy, the commitment to the cause. I think that's coming. I think the ongoing kind of sharpness of the players, the style that we want to commit to, which is mixing our play to affect teams in different ways. And there was some show of that today. You got in behind them with some quality today, especially first half, and second half tried to get in the right areas, and that bit of conviction in the final third. And that's what's been lacking all season. We know that before I was here and while I've been here, because we have created chances, we have got into key areas. It's that bit of freedom that comes with confidence, of course, but you build your own confidence.
Sean Dyche with Will Perry. 5 of the top 6 in the Championship all won. The only side to lose were Middlesbrough, beaten at West Brom, so all 6 stay in their same positions. The bottom 3 all lost in the Championship. Wigan beaten by 10-man Preston. Blackpool lost at Reading. Huddersfield were walloped by the leaders Burnley 4-0. Back to the Premier League. Arsenal winning 1-0 at Leicester. Here's Mikel Arteta.
Mikel Arteta, congratulations. Another big away win.
Huge win, and to win against Villa away and Leicester away in 10 days is not an easy thing to do, and I think we have deserved to win those matches, which is the most important thing. I think the manner, the way we played today, the way we dominated again, the way we have to restrict the opponent almost nothing, is very difficult, so big credit to the team.
Some VAR frustrations in the first half in particular. How easy is it to kind of put that behind you and focus on the rest of the game?
I think we did it really professionally. I think emotionally really controlled, because we could have that in the back of our mind and show that frustration. We didn't. We talked about that at half time, and we went off the blocks really strong in the second half again, and we scored the goal.
How critical was it to score that goal so quickly in the second half? Because it immediately changed the kind of tenor of that second half, didn't it?
It does, and obviously the opponent has to change their behaviour as well, and we have some big situation again that we should have put to bed much earlier, and we are lacking that at the moment in the final third with the amount of situations we create to be more efficient there to win for bigger margins, but especially defensively as well. I think we were top.
So that's the Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta. Alistair Bruce Ball here on Radio 5 Sports Extra, sitting at the Vitality Stadium alongside Tony Pulis. Arsenal's win at that point had them 5 points clear at the top of the table, but it looks like Manchester City are going to close that gap to a couple of points, because at half-time here they are 3 goals to the good against Bournemouth. The usual half-time entertainment is going on the pitch at the moment in front of us. The rugby is tight, Tony, I can tell you, so commentary continuing on the closing stages of the Six Nations in Cardiff. Last I saw, Wales 10, England 15, so
I live in hope.
Yeah, exactly. Talk to me, Tony. I mean, just listening to a few of those interviews, David Moyes, of course, who you know well.
Yeah.
Javi Gracia's got a win in his first game in charge as Leeds boss. It's looking a bit worrying for the 2 South Coast teams at the moment, Tony. So Southampton at the bottom there on 18, and Bournemouth, who we're watching tonight, on 21 points.
Yeah, it's really
tough,
it's a real difficult job down there. The pressure is enormous, and you go from week to week hoping that you get a little bit of luck, you play well sometimes and don't win games. Listening to Dyche, he was quite pleased with the way Everton played, but they end up losing. So and now it's we're going into a period where results are everything, not performances but results.
Interesting what David Moyes, we only caught the end of the David Moyes interview, but I heard Mark Chapman say what a great final answer that was, and he seemed to be intimating about some of the pressure that he's come under as the West Ham boss recently.
Yeah, I've got a lot of time for Dave. He's a smashing fella, and we go back a long, long way in the 4th division. When he was managing Preston, I was managing Gillingham. So, I've seen him come through his career and do what he's done, which has been exceptional. He's an exceptional football man. And for people to say some things about him, it's just absolutely disgraceful. I really do mean that. We're a footballing nation. He's a good man, you know, he's not a bad man, and he's done fantastic in his profession. And last year they were fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, they've struggled a little bit this year, and he'll be disappointed. And it won't hurt anybody more than David.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, some people have got to blink in, liven up.
Yeah, how did you deal with it, Tony? So obviously, you know, in your time, if you were going through a bad run, if you know, people did poke a microphone under your nose, maybe I even did it one time and said, oh, you know, you must be able to. How did you deal with that?
Well, the social media came along, you know, at the back end of my career, and what I did, David Kemp, who was my assistant, I'd never look at it. I wouldn't look at the any of the media stuff. I'd just concentrate on the games, the players, and the football club I managed. If there was anything in social media or the papers or whatever that Dave thought I needed to see, then he would tell me. Up to that point, honestly, I just stayed away from it, and I think that's what you got to do. You know, it's difficult. The outside noise gets to the players as well as the managers. It's difficult, but you have to manage it.
Yeah, you do, Tony. And we heard Graham Potter, the Chelsea manager, this week talking ahead of the Tottenham game. We've got commentary on that on 5 Live tomorrow about, you know, the mental struggles he's had in the job this season, but also, I mean, you know, people going way beyond the pale with sort of death threats to his family and just horrible stuff, really. So.
And there's you know, the internet has been very, very good in lots of ways, and you know, it's opened up the world for, especially, you know, my family. I've got a family in Florida that we can Skype and we can talk to, and we can do this, that and the other. But there's some scumbags on there, and I mean real scumbags.
Your green tea's arrived. So
John's a bit slow with that, and I usually get it a lot quicker than that, Alistair.
John Akers is here. He's providing the updates on the game for the listeners over on BBC Radio 5 Live. He's very kindly nipped down to the press room and got Tony one of his favourite green teas. But, and this is the crucial, and this is going to shock a lot of our listeners, no chocolate at half-time, Tony, because you've given it up for Lent.
Yeah, chocolate. My children will be eating loads and loads of chocolate in front of me now. Don't worry about that.
You love your chocolate, don't you? So that must be actually quite difficult.
And especially at games and nights like this.
I know. Keeps you going at half-time. So Bournemouth are back out, and we're waiting for Manchester City to reappear. So while Tony has a little sip or two of the green tea, why don't I take you through the Bournemouth team? I think Gary O'Neill has sent the same 11 players out for the start of the second half. You heard a few sort of murmurs of discontent from the home fans when that third goal went in, because it was such a bad one to give away. But again, if you look at the two teams and the talent that each manager has at their disposal, you've got to be realistic, I think, as a Bournemouth fan when Manchester City are in this kind of mood. So City are back out, they're almost ready to go. Bournemouth, Neto in goal, Stevens, Mepham, Senesi, 3 centre backs, Adam Smith, Jordan Zamora, the 2 wing backs, Lerma and Billing in midfield, Ouattara, Hamed Traore in support of Dominic Solanke. Ederson in goal for Manchester City. They will play from left to right in this second half in chain strip. It's the really light sort of lime green, luminous colours with dark blue trim. Rico Lewis, Manuel Akanji, Ruben Dias, Nathan Ake, ostensibly as a back four, but when they've got the ball, Lewis is in midfield and they're more of a 3. Rodri and Gundogan, who's been the absolute key man, Ilkay Gundogan, he's been brilliant for Manchester City, popping up in spaces and creating for them. Diaz's ball forward is intercepted by Senesi. Foden, Alvarez, Grealish and Haaland, the remainder of the team, and the goals being scored by Alvarez, Haaland and Foden. Back underway in the second half when the rugby is over and they've dealt with the post-match reaction and mopped everything up. Then our listeners on Radio 5 Live will join us. We're 30 seconds into the second half. Solanke is chasing a ball down the right for Bournemouth, holds off Ruben Dias, plays his pass back to Lerma. Wide it goes to Ouattara. Ouattara's running at Ake. Looks for a ball in towards Traore. Intercepted. Ouattara again. Gets onto the clearance. Beats Ake on the outside. Drives the cross into the near post. Diaz gets a foot on it. Grealish can't do much with that. And Lerma comes back to the halfway line towards Mepham. Mepham's ball down the right, chested down nicely. Ouattara again going to have a go at Ake. This time Ake makes the tackle, and actually the ball comes off Ouattara, so that'll be a throw in for Manchester City.
Yeah, good start by Bournemouth, Alistair. They need to score the next goal for us to get any sort of reaction from Man City. Otherwise, City are just going to coast through this second half.
Yeah, difficult one for Gary O'Neill. In terms of personnel, he's not changing at half time. Let's see what we get in terms of Bournemouth team performance. Haaland wins a header. Be interesting as well to see what Pep Guardiola does with the team and the personnel. Bristol City away on Tuesday, Newcastle at home next Saturday. They're defending again, City here, and Diaz blocks a ball in from the right. Grealish, that looked like a bad challenge on Grealish. We're a long way away.
Yeah.
But he's been caught.
Yeah.
That'll be a free kick. Ouattara with the foul.
Be interested seeing that one again. It looked, again, we're on the other side of the pitch. It looks a bad challenge.
That's a yellow. That is a yellow. You're right, Tony. Yellow card. Referee agrees. Paul Tierney, the referee. He does. I mean, it's the way he plays, isn't it, Jack Grealish? A bit like Jack Wilshere used to. He doesn't invite. You know, he gets hit by quite a few, Grealish, because of the way he plays, doesn't he? But he picks himself up and he carries on.
Gets on with it.
Yeah, he does. So Ouattara in the book. Manchester City in front, and they have the ball properly for the first time in this second half. Bournemouth fans around us, slowly making their way back to their seats. By the way, lines will be open shortly, I believe, for 6:06 tonight. Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage taking the calls. 08 085 909 693 is the number to dial if you want to have your say. Foden's ball finds Gundogan. Gundogan drives the cross in, blocked at the near post, might still fall for Alvarez here. Alvarez down to the byline, cross blocked by Neto with his feet. Foden gets a touch. Gundogan has a swing, it's cleared away, and Solanke nods it down. Akanji's there, and the referee has spotted the offside flag is up, so we'll come all the way back for a Bournemouth free kick. So we didn't need to commentate on any of that.
He could have played on as well. He could have played on.
He could actually, yeah. Pep Guardiola spotted something he didn't like and very quickly got Ruben Diaz to come towards him, so the instruction's been given and Bournemouth will have the free kick. 3 minutes gone in the second half. Mepham with his right foot up the inside right channel. Ouattara again goes down way too easily. Ake didn't do anything to him there, and Paul Tierney just shakes his head and says play on. Grealish on the left for Manchester City, back into midfield to Rodri. Lewis alongside him, gives it back to Rodri. Bournemouth players chasing the ball. Diaz up towards Gundogan.
What a touch that is.
Lovely.
Oh my goodness.
Ping ball first time, straight back to Rodri. Wide to Grealish. Grealish up against Adam Smith. Rolls the ball under the studs of his right boot. Pass back to Gundogan. Paul Tierney nearly blocked Gundogan. He skipped his way round him. Lewis now plays back to Diaz. Foden just jogging into position wide on the right, now gets this ball from Diaz. Zamora closes him down and Foden plays the pass back to Akanji. Across it comes to Rodri. Rodri turns away from Solanke inside the Bournemouth half. Grealish has popped up now in the sort of number 10 role with the number 10 shirt on. Alvarez is floating around as well. Haaland's making a run down the inside left channel. Grealish has spread play to the right though. Foden, left-footed cross comes in. That'll be a nice easy header away for Mepham. Akanji knocks a little header down to Foden, to Lewis. Lewis controls back to Akanji. Guardiola just getting the instruction into Foden. I think he wanted him to go down the outside and round rather than cutting back onto the left foot and getting the cross in. Might get another chance here. Rodri's ball, let's see what he does this time. Foden comes back to Lewis. Lewis to Akanji just outside the Bournemouth penalty area. Manchester City passing it around for fun. Akanji towards Lewis.
He's in.
Wide to Foden. He is in. Lewis with the cut back. Blocked by Senesi. Foden reacts. Cross in with his right foot. Good ball. Chested down. Alvarez drives it. Oh, and it's gone in. It's gone in off Chris Mepham. The shot might have been going wide.
It was definitely going wide, Alistair.
Right, so that is going to be a Chris Mepham own goal. The Manchester City players surround Julian Alvarez to celebrate his thumping right-footed strike. It looked like it was going wide of the right-hand post. It's come off Chris Mepham, and it's Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 4.
How many passes does City have?
I know.
Before they've scored this goal.
Yeah, no, it was just a concerted period of sort of 5 minutes or so possession, wasn't it? Cross comes in, dealt with by Stevens. Oh yeah, shot's going wide. Has to be a Mepham own goal.
Yeah, 100%.
Calvin Phillips is going to get some football for Manchester City. We saw him warming up early at half-time. 9 appearances for the club so far since joining from Leeds in the summer. 5 appearances since the World Cup.
I think Pep will bring a few on.
Yeah. First and only start against Southampton in the defeat in the League Cup quarter-final. Couple of substitute appearances for England at the World Cup. And the ball is passed straight out of play by Marcos Senesi, so Manchester City get a throw. So Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 4. Pep Guardiola's going to make the early change, and it's going to be a tough old evening for Bournemouth players, fans, everyone.
Yeah, they're going to have to just write this one off, Alistair.
Exactly.
You know, you've just got to clear your mind, write it off, understand how good City are, the quality of the players they've got. They're not going to face this every week.
Grealish on the ball for Manchester City. Radio 5 Sports Extra. Tony Pulis with us tonight at the Vitality Stadium. Listeners on 5 Live joining us soon. Sergio Gomez coming on as well for Manchester City. Not seeing much of him this season. Young Spanish fullback who joined from Anderlecht in the summer. But City in total control here. Ake. Pass half block. Grealish will chase it. Ouattara plays it back into his own penalty area. Stevens tries to play out. They've given the ball away. Just causing themselves more problems here, and Ake comes scurrying back towards the halfway line and rolls a pass back to Ruben Dias.
It's just a keep ball now, Alistair.
Yeah.
Keep ball session for Man City.
7.5 minutes gone in this second half. Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 4. Manchester City fans enjoying themselves, as you can hear. Akanji, walking pace inside the Bournemouth half, across to Gundogan. Gundogan to Rodri. Commentary could get a little repetitive for the next 35 minutes or so. Here's Foden. Foden back to Akanji. What do Manchester City want to do? What does Pep Guardiola want to see from his team for the rest of this game? Goal difference increasing considerably for them as well, which could be crucial, of course, come the end of the season. Alvarez, clever pass, little chip. Foden onto it, has to turn away from goal. 10 yards up from the byline. Back he comes to Rico Lewis. Lewis to Akanji. Lewis makes the run ahead of him, and Akanji gets it back again. Ball chips into the penalty. It doesn't quite fall for Haaland. He'll be thinking there's more goals out here for him this evening. Radio 5 Live listeners joining us in a couple of minutes. Manchester City still waiting to make the double change. Traore fouled by Rico Lewis, so that'll be a free kick for Bournemouth inside their own half. Change is coming, so Rodri's going to get a rest. That doesn't surprise me. Crucial cog in the Manchester City wheel. Plays a lot of football for them in all the competitions, so quite rightly he's going to get 35 minutes off here. So Calvin Phillips as well, the obvious replacement for him, so good for him to get some football. Calvin Phillips, and Sergio Gomez is going to come on for Ilkay Gundogan, who has been brilliant, hasn't he, Tony?
He's been absolutely outstanding. First half, completely run the game, found those pockets, played forward, run forward, was a continual threat to Bournemouth all the way through the time he's been on the pitch, to be honest.
Better just check on the full time in the rugby here before Mark Chapman hands to us on 5 Live. Oh, hang on, I can see the BBC Sport website saying try, but that's England have won it, Tony. So from your point of view, probably the less said about that, the better. Wales 10, England 20 at full time. So the 5 Live listeners...
That's water at home now instead of wine.
Is that right? Neto, Bournemouth's goalkeeper, with a low pass out of his box. To Senesi. Zamora, his clearance blocked by Lewis. It falls for Zamora, tries to run it away. Alvarez is there to block it. That's the other thing about Manchester City. When they lose it, they're all those attacking players work so hard to get it back. A constant feature of Pep Guardiola teams. Calvin Phillips then passes across to Ake. Wide it goes to Grealish, back to Ake. Bournemouth had a couple of minutes at the start of the second half, didn't they?
Second half.
And since then, they've barely had a kick of the ball. Akanji up towards Alvarez. Haaland sniffing around, but he won't get to that one, and it's come all the way through to Neto. Neto picks it up. He's conceded 4, but not too much he could have done about any of them, really. Slings the ball out, overarm up towards Solanke, right up the middle of the pitch, but City pounce on him. Phillips won it. Foden plays it back to Dias. I think if you're an attacking player here as well, Tony, for Manchester City, you're thinking, I could be in here. Could be a couple more for me. And Haaland,
It's all according to how much they play forward now, their midfield players and the wide players, because at the moment they're quite content, Alistair, just to keep the ball.
Yeah, that's what they're doing at the moment. Foden's deep, halfway line, back to Dias, forward to Haaland. Haaland can't control that. Billing to Mepham. Play back here to Jack Stevens. Haaland's chasing. Slightly frustrated body language from him. Phillips there in with an interception for Manchester City, but it's run to Ouattara, and he's opened it up nicely for Bournemouth on the left-hand side. I think they're getting ready to make a change now as well, Bournemouth. Trailing Manchester City by 4-0. Traore's cross in. Phillips is there. Blocks it at the near post, and the ball runs to Akanji. He calmly plays it up to Alvarez wide on the right. Not a good ball from Alvarez, intercepted by Billing, so Bournemouth have it back in the Manchester City half. Traore right on that left-hand touchline, plays infield to Billing. Billing looking for the run of Zamora. Akanji's got it covered. It'll come all the way through to Ederson. Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 4. 12 minutes gone in the second half. France-Scotland, I know, in the Six Nations tomorrow. That one kicks off at 3 o'clock. Scottish League Cup final as well, actually, tomorrow. Kicks off at 3 o'clock at Hampden Park, which is the old firm rivalry renewed, playing for silverware. Rangers against Celtic. And 5 Live Sport tomorrow will come from Wembley. Yellow card here for a foul on Grealish by Mepham, who's getting frustrated. Manchester City get the free kick. Manchester United against Newcastle United for the first domestic silverware of the English season in the League Cup tomorrow in full on BBC Radio 5 Live. So Bournemouth waiting to make changes here. Manchester City waiting to take their free kick. And Ryan Fredericks will be one to come on for Bournemouth. So double change coming for Bournemouth, trailing by 4-0, just over half an hour to play. A warm welcome to all our listeners on 5 Live as well as Radio 5 Sports Extra this afternoon. Ryan Fredericks on for Adam Smith for Bournemouth, and Philip Billing comes off, and he is replaced by Joe Rothwell. And I guess the final message, Tony Pulis, from Gary O'Neill is good luck, lads. You're 4-0 down. Go and sort it out for me.
Yeah, as I've said, I've been really impressed with Man City today. You know, the attitude of all the players, you know, their work rate off the ball, way they've kept the ball. The most impressive thing is the people are running forward and playing forward, and they look so dangerous when they do that, City. You know, it's not all backward, sideward, square. They've got top players up front, and they need service, and they need people to pass forward, and they need people to run and support them, and they've done that today.
Bournemouth coming on a rare counter in the second half, but they've given the ball away. Bournemouth in the red and black vertical stripes, defending the goal away to our right. Manchester City in change kit this evening under the floodlights at the Vitality Stadium. It's the light luminous lime green with the sort of blue horizontal bars across it. High cross into the Bournemouth penalty. Oh, Foden was thinking about a first time left-footed volley. Plays a 1-2 instead with Alvarez. Foden looking for another ball. Might run to Ake, who hits it well but straight at Neto.
Great strike.
That would have rubbed salt into the wounds if former Bournemouth defender smashes one in from 25 yards against you. He hit it well, Tony. You're absolutely right. Now then, Ouattara trying to get away down the right. Evades the challenge of Phillips. Nice step over. Beats Akanji. No, he doesn't, in fact. Akanji, good defending. Just covered it and shadowed it. And the ball goes behind.
Akanji looks a really, really top defender. He stays on his feet. He's quick, powerful, strong. And his use of the ball today has been very good as well. I've been really impressed with him. Him and Lewis, the two younger ones in the squad, have done, or in the team, have been very, very good today, Alistair. Yeah, just in case you've not been across it or you have just tuned in after the rugby, Pep Guardiola making 3 changes after the 1-1 draw away to RB Leipzig on Wednesday. 18-year-old Rico Lewis in for Kyle Walker. Foden starting and scoring. And Julian Alvarez on the ball right now into the team as well. He's got space to work with. Haaland pointed where he wants it, but the cross doesn't beat Jack Stevens. He blocks it, comes off his chest, and it goes behind for a corner. Haaland has scored. Alvarez has scored. Foden has scored. And Alvarez's strike for the 4th goal was off target, so we've given that as a Chris Mepham own goal. Erling Haaland, Tony, 27 league goals. Yeah, he's struggling a bit. He is, honestly. You know, you listen to people and 27 goals.
I know. He'll want another hat-trick there. He'll be thinking hat-trick today. I know he will. Foden, both arms in the air, will take the corner. Good delivery. Ake gets the header on it, but it goes high and wide and behind for a goal kick to Bournemouth.
What Bournemouth have got to do, Alistair, they've just got to make sure they're clear. It's ever so difficult. They've been in this position against these top clubs, and you've just got to keep going. You've just got to really pull in nice and tight. Make sure you trying not to concede any more goals, because goal difference in the end could count. And I heard you say that Bournemouth is the worst in the league at the moment.
Minus 27, it's gone to. I mean, it could count at both ends of the table. So Manchester City will be thinking, well, you know, we've finished level on points with an Arsenal or a Manchester United, so we need them, and Bournemouth desperately need to make sure they don't get absolutely walloped. Haaland. Inside right channel, pokes it forward to Foden, gives it to Alvarez, edge of the box, lines up a left-footed shot, that's easily blocked, and Rothwell is there to play to his left here to Hamed Traore. Hamed Traore, one of Bournemouth's signings in the window, on loan from Empoli, does well. Wide to Solanke, poor challenge from Akanji, came flying in from a long way out. Solanke knocks it underneath him, and Akanji just cleans him out, and that'll be a yellow card.
See, he doesn't have to do that. If that had been me, then yeah, fair, because I couldn't run. But he doesn't have to commit himself like that. He can stay on his feet. You know, he's quick enough. Well, quicker than Solanke, I should imagine. So he's got no problems if the kid knocks it past him. A reckless challenge, and one that he should not take on at any cost with his attributes. The really, really strong attributes.
Kanji in the book. Manchester City leading by 4-0. Lines open for 606. Number to dial 08 085 909 693. Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage with you after the conclusion of this game. Grealish, good run. Has he played the right ball to Foden? Sliding challenge on Foden. Mepham there just in time. Back it goes to Zamora, but those Manchester City players immediately close in like a swarm of bees around Bournemouth players trying to come out from the back, and Traore does well, knocks it into the legs of Alvarez and wins a throw for Bournemouth. Life will not get any easier for them. Arsenal away, Liverpool home, Villa away. The next 3 games, Tony, I know, before the international break.
Yeah, tough.
But you've been there, you know what it's like.
And sometimes you get the result that nobody expects you to get, and it sets you up for a run of games. And 2 or 3 victories, Alistair, it can change it completely.
Yep. Well, Southampton on 18 points at the bottom, Bournemouth and Everton on 21, Leeds with their win today on 22, West Ham on 23, Wolves on 24, so are Leicester. So it's 6 points covering those places that I've just mentioned. Bournemouth with Mepham inside his own penalty area, comes back to his goalkeeper Neto. The Brazilian sweeps it away with his right foot. The ball bounces inside the Bournemouth half. Ouattara heads it, is able to then get to that header and play a pass to Zamora. Back to Dango Ouattara. Alvarez can't stop him. Traore gives it back to Ouattara. Manchester City defenders on the back foot for once. Traore still going, edge of the box. Nice little bit of skill. Right foot to left foot. Takes it wide down by the byline. Skidding cross into the penalty area. Diaz is there, clears with his right foot. 19 minutes gone in the second half on 5 Live and Radio 5 Sports Extra. And Manchester City leading Bournemouth by 4-0. Solanke played in behind. Lewis is there and just toes the ball behind for a corner to Bournemouth.
Alvarez has got his goal and works his absolute socks off for the football team, but at times his touch and his quality on the ball has not been not of Man City standard anyway.
He's into double figures for the season with his goal this evening. 10 in total, 5 in the Premier League. Corner for Bournemouth. Traore deep to the far post, clean header on it. Ball is down on the edge of the 6-yard box. Right old scramble, bodies going everywhere there. Bournemouth appealing for a handball. Volleyed by Ouattara, blocked by Haaland. Flick header away by Alvarez, doesn't go very far. Traore holds him off, tries to beat him on the left. Another cross comes in to the near post, headed straight behind by Senesi. Manchester City will get a goal kick, and it's the Manchester City players who've come to speak to the referee Paul Tini. There's push and shove between Chris Mepham and Jack Grealish, and Mepham actually, just for our listeners on 5 Live joined us, was booked for a challenge on Grealish just short of the halfway line, so there might be something that's bubbling along there. So what on earth went on in the penalty? Well, Ruben Diaz is lying on the floor and the ball actually rolls up his left arm. Video assistant referee checking penalty, checking possible penalty at the Vitality Stadium. The whistle has blown, though it's been checked. That won't be a penalty. And the Bournemouth fans don't like it. And certainly the ones behind the goal away to our left where the action happened, the loudest boos came from there. Diaz just was on the floor and had his body in the way, and the ball certainly touched arm. Check it out on Match of the Day tonight. Obviously you can have a look for yourself. 10:30 on BBC One. Here's Haaland. Stops and skids to a halt just inside the Bournemouth half. Plays it here to Sergio Gomez, who's come on for Manchester City, so a very rare appearance for him this season, the 22-year-old Spaniard who's in that sort of midfield role, so full back on, but like him and Rico Lewis will be asked to do plenty more than that. Rico Lewis is fouled, so that'll be a free kick to Manchester City inside their own half. And as you said a little while ago, Tony, it's just how many more they want to score, really, Manchester City.
Like I say, I just think it's, Bournemouth have got to be sensible here and make sure they don't concede anymore. That they're going to lose the game. So it's damage limitation as much as anything else. Alistair, City are quite content just to move the ball around. And if they find the spaces in the pockets, if Bournemouth chase the ball, then, as they just did then, they'll create openings. City are that good.
Could open up for Sergio Gomez. Rico Lewis has actually ran onto his pass that was meant for Foden, couldn't control it. Hamed Traore for Bournemouth gets away from Foden. Foden gives him a nudge. Traore's knocked out of his stride, and here comes Jordan Zamora running across the Manchester City half. Ouattara makes a run in behind, but it goes wider to the right hand side. Ryan Fredericks runs straight into Jack Grealish, back there doing the defending for Manchester City, and City very calmly take the ball and bring it away. Calvin Phillips getting some football as well. He's come on as a second half substitute. There's a couple more coming on as well, Tony.
Yeah, he's got the opportunity and chance now to rest a few.
Yeah, including Maximo Perrone, who is going to make his debut for Manchester City, the 20-year-old who was signed in January from Vélez Sarsfield. So he's going to get a go, and look out, Bournemouth, here comes one of the most informed players in the Premier League in Riyad Mahrez.
He's a top player. Top player.
So tired Bournemouth legs, been chasing the ball all evening. Someone's going to have to deal with Mahrez, who's just had a little squirt of water into the mouth. Final preparations underway on the touchline in front of us. Last 20 minutes of the game here. Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 4. Rothwell spots a space to run into, does well. Plays it to Traore. Traore cuts in from the left. Low pass to Lerma. Lerma's little chip ball up is nodded back but given away, and now Haaland deep inside his own half, plays back to Rico Lewis. Lewis to Sergio Gomez. And Gomez back to Akanji, forward to Phillips, and it's at a very sedate pace at the moment with Manchester City in possession. So next time the ball goes out of play, City will make a double change, and at that point we'll take you to Selhurst Park for the team news on Crystal Palace against Liverpool, which kicks off at 7:45 in the Premier League this evening. Diaz's ball forward. Senesi slightly miscontrols. Second touch of it keeps it for Bournemouth. Lerma to Ouattara, gets a shout from Fredericks. Fredericks steaming up on the outside on the right. Ake goes across to try and shut it down. Fredericks tries to beat him on the outside, gets the cross in, and Ederson, all in bright orange, is able to make a two-handed grab at his near post, and then just very calmly, he wanted to deliver one of those sensational sort of 70-yarders downfield, and then realised it was going to be easier just to bowl it out underarm to Sergio Gomez. Here's Rico Lewis, just 18 years old. What you made of him tonight, actually, Tony?
I think he's been fabulous. Yeah. Like I say, I've been impressed with the centre half and him, the two young, more inexperienced players. He looks a top player, top prospect.
Yeah, real confidence about him as well in the first half, giving Ederson a rocket when Ederson did something that he shouldn't have done.
But I've been impressed with all of them.
I know.
I don't think Pep can have a complaint about any of them.
Yeah, no, they've been on it tonight, Manchester City.
Alvarez works his socks off. He's been a little bit sloppy in possession, giving the ball away, but he works. He works really well, like all of them have done tonight.
Yeah.
Really put a shift in.
Lots of Manchester City possession again. The build-up play leading to their fourth goal, which is the only one they've scored in the second half so far. They must have had the ball for 2-3 minutes before it eventually went in off Mepham. They passed Bournemouth to death at that point, and they're doing it again here, but with slightly less of a threat and purpose at the moment. Phillips playing a little 1-2 with Sergio Gomez. Gomez through the lines to Rico Lewis. Foden giving him a call on the outside. Lewis is going to try and find him. Foden gets there. Not enough on the cutback to beat Lerma. Lerma turns inside his own box, clears towards the edge of the box, might fall to Haaland, leaves it for Grealish. Grealish's dancing feet, can't quite get himself in position to shoot, and Ouattara dummies a clearance and then runs into the enormous figure of Haaland, goes down and gets a free kick for Bournemouth, and then the chant goes up of Haaland from the Manchester City fans. So, changes coming here. Let's check in at Selhurst Park. 7:45 kick-off, Crystal Palace against Liverpool. Sohail Sahi with the team news.
Yeah, big game for both teams tonight. Alistair and Patrick Vieira, he goes with an unchanged lineup that got that point at Brentford, a late goal for Brentford sharing the points there at the G-Tech Community Stadium. While Jurgen Klopp, he makes 4 changes to his Liverpool side, who lost to Real Madrid in the Champions League. In come Milner, Keita, Jota and Matip.
Thank you, Sahel. Kicks off at 7:45. 6:06 will be well underway by then, so Sahel will provide the updates for you from Selhurst Park this evening on Crystal Palace against Liverpool. 1:30 tomorrow. 5 Live Sport tomorrow from midday comes live from Wembley with Steve Crossman and the team, John Murray and Ian Dennis, alongside Stephen Warnock for commentary of the League Cup final. Manchester United.
2 scoundrels there.
Well, I know, Tony. I hope they behave themselves this evening, you know. You know what they're like, don't you?
Especially that Murray.
Never
mind Deno. Deno gets a stick all the time.
I know. I think
you'll watch that John Murray.
I think they encourage each other, you know, Tony. So if you're anywhere in their vicinity this evening, keep an eye on them. They'll do the commentary. 4:30 kickoff from Wembley, but we've also got Tottenham against Chelsea in the Premier League at 1:30. Manchester City have passed the ball out of play. Rico Lewis couldn't find Riyad Mahrez, and then Senesi's thrown it straight to Mahrez.
That's got to be a foul.
What are you doing? And that too, Tony. Yeah. Now, who was the other one to come off? Alvarez came off. Oh, Haaland. Did I not spot the fact that Erling Haaland's been taken off? Here he comes. Here he comes. Erling Haaland trudging his way down the touchline here. Pep Guardiola giving his star centre-forward a rest. Can Manchester City score goals without him? Sergio Gomez dipping shot just brushes the roof of the net, took a deflection and goes behind for a corner.
That throw-in's made me laugh.
Look at Haaland. He's got a smile on his face.
You've seen Belle this afternoon, my little granddaughter.
Yes.
She would have thrown it in like that.
She would. Erling Haaland's in conversation here with an official who's sort of just shepherding him around the touchline. He's got a big smile on his face. Let's see the reaction between him and Pep Guardiola. He's going to tell Pep, I could have had a couple more out there if you'd kept me on. Corner for Manchester City. Morris's ball in, little flick at the near post, and it goes just wide. And I missed the interchange, the exchange between the two.
He shook hands.
Handshake, was it?
Yeah.
Well played, sir. Just the 27 Premier League goals for you this season. Mo Salah's record in a 38-game season in the Premier League is 32. Haaland is 5 behind it with 13 games still to play. Foden from the short corner gives it to Mahrez. Mahrez rolls it back. Phillips miscues with the shot, and Bournemouth are able to clear it away. Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 4. Manchester City's goal difference plus 40 now. Arsenal's plus 29, so they're well ahead on that front. Mahrez, good ball, but too close to Neto, who comes off his line and catches.
Alan would have looked at that cross and said, I would have got on the end of that if I'd have been on the pitch.
Exactly. I mean, he didn't have too many clear-cut chances, Tony. He stuck his one away that came to him, didn't he? But you couldn't say they were. I mean, there were obviously things developing. What? I'm not having a go at him. I'm just saying.
How many goals has he got?
Oh, I know. But I'm just saying he only needed the one chance today, didn't he? And it came to him from a Foden sort of ball that ended up going across the face of goal, and he was just there, and he didn't have to do too much, but put his foot on it, made sure of it, got his goal, and we've got about 15 minutes to play. 08085 909 693 to have your say on 606 tonight. Neto's clearance up to the halfway line. Ouattara heads it back here to Ryan Fredericks. Fredericks' ball, that's clever from Ouattara, let it run past him, but actually Akanji had it covered for Ake. Jaden Anthony's going to come on for Bournemouth for the last 15 minutes, but it's training ground stuff at the moment.
Yeah, it is, very much so. Like I say, Man City are just controlling it. It's nice and steady. They'll take their time now with the ball. They'll take their time with the ball.
Ruben Dias, high swinging ball away to the left-hand side. Foden jumps, heads it towards the centre spot. Lerma goes down dramatically, but he does win the free kick. John Akers sitting alongside has just reminded me actually that Alvarez's first goal came from Haaland's shot that came back off the crossbar, so that actually was very nearly another Haaland goal, so that's a good point. We're glad John is here, because he also provided the green tea at half time,
very much so,
which is an essential.
And he's behaved himself
for once. Hamed Traore off, Jaden Anthony on. 15 minutes to go, and it's Jack Stevens on the ball and Gary O'Neill, the Bournemouth manager, out on the side of the pitch here. Next team he's got to think about is Arsenal away, which obviously is, oh dear. Jaden Anthony, first touch, gives it to Zamora. Lewis is there to block it for Manchester City. Even 4-0 up, they're not giving anything up at all, not giving Bournemouth a sniff. Bournemouth throw, wide on the left. Zamora throws it back into his own half. Senesi back to Stevens. So Alvarez in the centre forward position. Mahrez wide right. Foden wide left. Neto Plays it out to Stevens, still inside his own box. Nice pass between the Manchester City midfielders. Gets it to Jayden Anthony. Anthony's got a lot of space to run into here, and he's made a good 40 yards down the left. Pass to Zamora. Zamora dummies across, tries to get past Akanji. Phillips intercepts, and the ball is played back to Akanji again. Tall, imposing figure at the back for Manchester City. Mahrez under pressure inside his own half. Back to Lewis. In turn, he finds Phillips. Phillips thought about going across the face of his own goal to Ederson. City try and work it out down the right-hand side. Solanke might have been caught by Calvin Phillips there. No, Paul Tierney says no. No free kick. That'll be a goal kick for Manchester City. 13 minutes to play. Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 4. Dominic Solanke has stayed down, hurt. And the Bournemouth fans aren't happy. They feel there should have been a free kick. Let's have a look. Both feet sort of up in the air, challenging for a high ball. He might have caught him there, Tony. It's just been missed.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
So, heading towards the last 10 minutes, Pep Guardiola just comes back to his bench for another word.
I think the big thing for Bournemouth is, as you said, they've got some tough games now. Not just this game, but games coming up. And you've got to put everything in perspective. They'll have games against teams in that bottom 6 coming up that they're the games they have to win.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll pick up a few points against the sides that we've just mentioned that they have to play in the next couple of weeks. But if they don't, it's the other games, the teams in the bottom half of the table that you've got to pick your points up from.
Tony Pulis with us on 5 Live and Sports Extra this evening on the South Coast. Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 4. City very impressive tonight. Sergio Gomez wide to Foden on the left. Mahrez making the run to the far post. Foden plays it back past Ake, but Phillips is there. Quickly gives it back to Foden on the left. Sergio Gomez outside of his left foot flicks it back to Ruben Dias. Mahrez again makes a run, stops it, turns back. Still trying to find space wide on the right. Manchester City played across the halfway line towards Calvin Phillips. Now Ake down the inside left channel to Foden. Foden slips it inside to Perrone. Perrone to Ake. Here's Perrone. Perrone's cross blocked by Jack Stevens. Lovely football again. Manchester City corner.
Yeah, great play. Just pass and move. It's 2-touch football all the way through there. Controlling it, passing it and moving. Nothing moves quicker than the ball on a football pitch, and they've certainly proved that tonight. They have really, really been very, very good.
Talking Perrone, that's what John Murray and Ian Dennis have got to avoid this evening, haven't they, Tony?
Every time you say it, I think of them.
You're getting thirsty. 11 minutes to play. Standing ovation for Nathan Ake, which is lovely to see from the Bournemouth fans as well. Served this club so brilliantly in his time. Now playing for the Premier League champions, looking to try and win that title for a 5th time in 6 seasons. Manchester City chasing Arsenal as best they can. Ake is off, Walker is on. Manchester City with the win tonight will be just 2 points behind Arsenal. We've got just over 10 minutes to play. Foden's corner, away swinger, headed away. Might drop to Rico Lewis, completely miscued shot, gets another go. This one's blocked. Akanji thought about having a swing. It's worked to Foden. Foden stands the ball up. Neto's out there, catches it and runs out to the edge of his penalty here and doesn't like the challenge of Ruben Dias and lets him know as Dias goes sprinting out of the box. Slings it out away to his left. That was risky, and Mahrez gets a toe on it. Played back to Walker. Mahrez infield to Perrone. I know, Tony, you've done it now. To Phillips.
I'd keep saying the number 32 if I was
the one. Maximo is his name. 08085 909 693 to get your calls in to 606. Lines are open, so you can start calling now. They'll get you lined up. Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage will want to hear from you. Here's Kyle Walker. Walker's pass deflected up in the air. Senesi heads it to his right. Rothwell onto the ball for Bournemouth, running towards Kyle Walker, releases the pass to his left. Jayden Anthony up against Walker, just plays it back to Zamora. Zamora takes a touch, finds Anthony again. Anthony back to Senesi, and we're into the last 10 minutes of this game. Senesi plays a couple of quick 1-2s with Lerma. Lerma holds off the challenge there from Perrone. Senesi back to Rothwell, and Bournemouth keeping it inside their own half with Stevens to Senesi. Senesi holds both arms out wide and says, well, where do I go here? He's going to have to go back to the goalkeeper, Neto, all in light grey. a sort of mixture of light grey and dark grey, actually. Light grey top, dark grey shorts, and light and dark grey socks. Foul on Dominic Solanke. Free kick given by Paul Tierney just short of the halfway line. Tony Pulis.
Yeah, this is really helpful for Bournemouth, just keeping the ball. Man City are dropping off, and they're allowing Bournemouth to play with the ball in their own half. And they just got to keep it. They're not going to win the game now. They just got to kill the game and make sure City don't score another goal.
Mepham's ball up towards Ouattara, back to Mepham across to Stevens with his right foot, lofted ball to the left. Zamora brings it down. Mahrez is back there to defend, plays to Kyle Walker. Nice little neat pass into the midfield. Perrone lays it off to Calvin Phillips, distinctive figure with the long hair tied back and the big bob on the top of his head. Finds Diaz behind him. Walking pace from Manchester City again. Pep Guardiola sat down, leaning back in his comfortable seat in that dugout just beneath us. Akanji plays a 1-2 with Sergio Gomez, then goes up the middle of the pitch to Alvarez. Perrone ran beyond the pass. Zamora onto it. That's good from Zamora. Beats a couple of men, 25 yards from goal. Flicks it to his left. Here's Jaden Anthony rolls it on the outside. Zamora's cut back into the penalty area. Will this fall? But Lerma, who scores for Bournemouth on the volley. They get one past Manchester City, and it's a thumping finish from Jefferson Lerma. It won't make any difference to the result tonight, but the Bournemouth fans enjoyed that one. Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 4.
Yeah, good move down the left-hand side. Cross again. A little bit fortunate, for Man City players sat up lovely for him, and he took it with a plumb. Really, it was a great strike.
Jefferson Lerma's name being sung loudly around the Vitality Stadium. Clean sheet. I mean, they're going to win the game, Tony, and they've been excellent, but they're struggling to keep clean sheets at the moment. Manchester City.
Yeah,
they are. They just concede the odd goal in.
Well, Alvarez gave the ball away there. It got played up to him, and he's just given everybody. It was a straight pass, and everybody was running past him, and he gave the ball away, and they broke. Within 3 passes, the ball's in the back of the net.
Pep Guardiola is slumped ever.
He won't be happy with that.
Okay.
He'll be really disappointed, because he would have wanted to keep a clean sheet. Even the top managers, they want clean sheets.
Well, if you're a top fantasy football manager, you've got Edison as your goalkeeper like me, Tony, you want clean sheets as well, and they're not coming, so it's bad news. I might have to get you into fantasy football, actually. Now then, ball back to Edison, who gets there just in time. Solanke to get you into fantasy football, actually. Now then, ball back to Edison, who gets there just in time. Solanke was closing that down. And Manchester City just getting a little bit sloppy at the end here. Not enough on the pass from Walker. It was blocked, and it's going to be Manchester City's goal kick in the end. The ball came off Solanke's hand, actually, as he ran in to block from Edison. But yeah, the Fantasy 606 podcast is there every week on a Thursday on BBC Sounds. If we can get Tony Pulis managing a team,
sir, retired.
On. That's going to be my ambition. Perrone, this is loose from City. Walker keeps it in play, but that's only given the ball to Bournemouth. Chip cross into the box. Pep Guardiola is going to be absolutely livid about this at the moment. Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 4. Guardiola's, he always surprises you. He's on his feet applauding.
Yeah, he's just saying, push him up,
sort it out.
Yeah.
6 minutes to play. Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 4. 6:06 on the way. 08085 909 693, and make sure you're tuned into 5 Live Sport from midday tomorrow. Tottenham Chelsea at 1:30. League Cup final. Manchester United against Newcastle. 4:30. Full commentary on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Lewis's ball to Alvarez has miscued, and Foden was clean through the middle. Neto clears from his own box to Rothwell. This game has got wide open. Rothwell senses it, goes sprinting at the Manchester City defence, finds Solanke. Solanke had options on his outside, and he tried to go to his right to tee himself up for a shot. He's tackled. Alvarez holds his man off, lays the ball into midfield to Calvin Phillips, who plays back in the end to Sergio Gomez. Wide it goes to Foden.
We thought the game was just dying, and the last 5 minutes it's just livened up again.
Yeah, it's entertainment.
It's gone from end to end.
Yeah. Well, it's gone for Bournemouth. Manchester City have got the win. They've lost their clean sheet, and maybe that sort of last couple of minutes of sloppiness might just spark Manchester City into life to try and find another. Or can Bournemouth peg another one back? Perrone.
He's offside.
He's offside. Good call, Tony. Flag goes up as soon as Tony Pulis said it. Julian Alvarez caught offside. Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 4. other big sporting events tomorrow. France, Scotland in the Six Nations. We'll obviously keep you updated on that. As well as the Scottish League Cup final kicks off at 3 o'clock at Hampden Park. Rangers against Celtic, so updates on that one as well. And if you're a cricket fan, the Women's T20 World Cup final coverage from 12:45 on Sports Extra tomorrow. Australia against South Africa in the final. Zamura's ball across to Lerma, the goal scorer. 3.5 minutes of the 90 to play. Now Ouattara about 25 yards from goal, plays it back to Lerma, then to Rothwell. I guess the last 10 minutes have done Bournemouth a bit good, actually.
Yeah.
Tony?
Yeah, very much so. You know, they've got the goal, and there's been a couple of occasions like now.
Cross in, and Ederson dives at his near post and is onto it. Had Solanke got a touch before Ederson got there, then it may have flown past him into the back of the net.
He'll give Gary some confidence, and he'll give the team some confidence. And although they've got well beaten today, the last 5-10 minutes, scoring a goal, creating a couple of opportunities, there's something positive to talk about.
Still more Premier League football to be played tonight. Crystal Palace against Liverpool at 7:45. Sohail Sahi with the updates on that one. Football Daily with the big football roundup for you on the BBC Sounds app. Solanke trying to get free inside the Manchester City penalty area, and Manchester City have scrambled it clear. Perone's first time ball to Alvarez. Two Argentines combining. Mahrez in a bit of space wide on the right hand side, cuts back infield, ball back to Calvin Phillips. Phillips across the halfway line to Gomez. Gomez trotting forward, plays to Perone to Gomez. Couple of quick 1-2s. Bournemouth stand off. And it's the three youngsters in there, Gomez, Perone and Lewis, just pinging it around between themselves, and no one coming to make a challenge. Lewis trying a little back pass here to Perone. Bournemouth clear, and Gomez picks it up again.
Back to keep ball,
end of the game. Pep Guardiola off his seat, hands in pockets, and Mahrez can't keep that ball in play right underneath his nose, so that'll be a throw-in for Bournemouth on the left. 89th minute of the game. Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 4. Manchester City had it won by half-time with the first half goals from Alvarez, Haaland and Foden. No need to use Kevin De Bruyne this evening. Missed the Leipzig game on Wednesday through illness, has been on the bench tonight.
That's not good news for Bristol City.
Oh, that's a good point, Tony. Yes, that's where they are. Manchester City FA Cup 5th round action next week, Tuesday, Wednesday. Across 5 Live and Sports Extra. Bristol City against Manchester City at Ashton Gate. Zamura's 1-2 with Jayden Anthony. Anthony, good skill, beats Phillips into the penalty area. Still Anthony, curling shot, well wide of the target in the end, but lovely skill to create the chance.
Yeah, they've had 2 or 3 great opportunities in this last 10 minutes. And like I say, fair play to them. They've kept going, and Gary can take something out of it. The players can take something out of it. Although it might be just the last 10 minutes and the fact that they were 4-0 down.
If you are a Bournemouth fan on the way home listening to us and you want to have your say on 606 tonight, 08085 909 693 is the number to dial. Maybe a Leeds fan or a Southampton fan. Big game at the bottom of that one. Leeds winning it by a 1-0. Robbie and Chris will be with us shortly. Rothwell's on the ball for Bournemouth. Running away from Alvarez. Now Mahrez might be able to get away from Manchester City, and the ball breaks to Julian Alvarez. Foden's got his arm up in the middle. Alvarez slides it to Lewis. Lewis still has Foden on the outside. Played to Sergio Gomez. Lines up the shot, gets underneath it. Over the bar it goes. Goal kick for Bournemouth.
Yeah, good play, good interplay. Bad finish. The lads tried to hit it too hard, really. Again, it clears the crossbar.
Right, John Akers on the right, clearing up the kit and getting ready to go. So he's heading downstairs. You'll hear the interviews live into 606, hopefully, with the managers tonight, Gary O'Neill and Pep Guardiola. Arsenal 57 points after their win at Leicester today. Manchester City moving to 55 points, but they have played a game more. 3 minutes of added time at the end of this game. Southampton bottom of the table after their defeat at Leeds today on 18 points, and Bournemouth 3 points above them, level on points with Everton. Those teams in the bottom 3. So last knockings of this one, Akanji to Phillips. Phillips back to Ederson. Ederson just stops the ball under his left boot, edge of his box, forward to Phillips, back to Akanji. Akanji's pass forward to Perone. Are we going to get one last chance in the game? 2.5 minutes to go. Kyle Walker, one of those late subs, plays the ball back to Perone, to Phillips. Bournemouth stand off him. Phillips has got all the time in the world here, just to roll a pass to his left to Ruben Dias. Pep Guardiola beneath, just feeling the cold, wraps himself up tightly in his big black coat.
He'll be warm enough, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
The performance and result.
He'll be happy tonight.
Yeah,
Tony.
yeah.
And the ball through. He's not happy with that one because it's straight into the arms of the goalkeeper Neto, and we've got 2 minutes to go. 08085 909 693. Number to call for 606. Here's Neto. Stevens. Closed down. Pass out. Blocked by Peroni, but it goes behind.
I know it's the name of the game and all that stuff. Everybody wants to play football from the goalkeeper. But if I was Stevens, I'd be giving the big fella in goals a bit there.
Yeah.
He just set him up.
Don't play it to me there. By the way, the camera's there, Tony, just picking up Ilkay Gundogan, who, first off, made it happen for Manchester, didn't he?
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Now, can Mahrez finish it off? Dances onto the left foot. That's going to be a penalty, isn't it? Oh, it's outside the box. Challenge on Mahrez.
Will they check this?
They will, of course they will. Oh, and there's a bit of push and shove as well. Mepham's on the yellow card, so he's got to be careful. Mahrez did the classic shoulder drop, worked it onto the left boot, was trying to tee up the left-footed shot, and the challenge was right on the edge of the box. We will have a look here, and it... Oh, couple of bits of contact. First bit of contact outside the box, second bit of contact inside the box.
Yeah.
What do we think? Paul Tierney is marching the wall 10 yards back. Communication will come from Stockley Park from Andy Madley. Tell you what, though, I mean, even if it's not a penalty, chance here from the edge of the box with a free kick, Tony. And I think Mahrez will fancy this, won't he?
And there'll be no one else taking it.
Has Calvin Phillips ever scored for Manchester City? Need to check that out. Don't think he has, so maybe he's saying that. Maybe he's saying that to Mahrez.
I'm not sure. I don't care what he's saying. I think Mahrez is taking it.
Wall of red and black striped shirts. Draft excluded position behind the wall. It will be Mahrez. Oh, that was close. Shaves the crossbar and goes behind for a goal kick. Oh, that was a good one.
Let's have a look at it again.
Yeah, left foot curler right on the edge of the box. Right across. The
keeper had it covered.
Apex. Did he, Tony? Did he ever? I think the full-time whistle's going to blow any second, and Manchester City have responded to Arsenal's win at Leicester this afternoon because they have won here at Bournemouth, and they've won comfortably by 4 goals to 1. The full-time